Buffalo Bills moved to 6-0 or 6-2, on the season following yesterday's win over Kansas City. Tough injury news though for the second straight week. Edge rusher Michael Hoyt confirmed last night to have torn his ACL. We'll see though if there's any other injury news coming out of this game when head coach Sean McDermott speaks to the media around 4 p.m. Next up for the Bills though, it is a divisional matchup. They head down to South Florida against the Dolphins Sunday at 1 p.m. The trade deadline in the NFL is tomorrow. Ahead of that, the Eagles did make another addition, adding edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins for a 2026 third-round pick. Packers tight end Tucker Kraft is out for the season. He did, in fact, suffer a torn ACL. And then Week 9 is going to wrap up tonight with Monday Night Football. Cowboys hosting the Arizona Cardinals, and the Cardinals will be going with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Kickoff at 8:15, and you can also listen to the game right here on WGR starting at 7:30. Sabres are next in action tomorrow night when they host Utah, though both forwards Jason Zucker and Yuri Kulik are doubtful, according to head coach Lindy Ruff, and just 4 games tonight in the NHL. 7:30, Toronto hosts Pittsburgh, 2 games at 8:30, Oilers at St. Louis, and Vancouver at Nashville. Then at 10, the Kraken will host the Chicago Blackhawks. And college basketball got underway this afternoon. St. Bonaventure already wrapped up their game with Bradley, taking them down 69-63. And then later on tonight, UB men host Southern Miss at 6:30. That game's going to be over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. UB women also in action there at Marshall. That game will get going at 6. And then Niagara is at Duquesne. That game will tip off at 7 and can be heard over on AM 1400. And Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch local NFL games live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Early on in the game, you know when you're slotted or the ball's coming out of your hand as good as you really want it. I've been working really hard over the last couple weeks trying to get back into that feeling.
Here's the snap, and it is a blitz. Allen back to pass, looking down the right sideline for Kincaid, complete, and he walks into the end zone for a 23-yard touchdown reception.
It's Mike Schopp.
I felt Cole out there making big plays. You could sense his speed. He was popping some people out there.
Looking for a Kelsey, and he's labeled as the ball goes flying behind him. Oh, Cole Bishop.
And the Bulldog.
It was cool seeing Cole fly around, man. Like, it's just so fun out there playing with those guys like Cole and everybody else on defense, man. It's just fun.
Pressure coming. Mahomes heaves it down the field, looking for Worthy. It's picked off by Maxwell Hairston at the Buffalo 32-yard line.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Hi there, the sun is out. Football Monday brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. I think I said the thing about the sun being out subconsciously. I was feeling like I heard yesterday from a friend that was listening to the postgame show, like, you sound grumpy. And maybe I did. You know, this is somebody who I would expect to be right. And so, like,
I didn't like your tone at the beginning. I kind of yelled at you at the beginning. Like, what are you talking about?
Well,
I'm happy.
I can defend it. I don't think I was not of right mind yesterday, but I'm going to blame the Blue Jays.
Well, we did sort of open up almost. The first thing we almost said was the World Series result, I think, on postgame yesterday for like a minute or 30 seconds before we got into the football game.
The point is, you have a season and you get right there and lose. And there's a sense of like, well, who cares about anything else that happened? And it's not the same, but the Bills have had 5 of these in a row with the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And I do not blame anybody for yawning through this game yesterday because, like, so what? I'm not saying you have to feel that way or should. And that was my attitude about this game. Like, just, it's important. This is always the case. It's important in the standings. As we talked about all week last week about this, and anybody could know this, Kansas City is now 5-4. That's Carolina's record. Like, that's not a good record. And I still don't think, like, why would I now if I didn't on Friday when Joe sort of mocked me for saying this, like, Ostrowski, just like, they don't have to make the playoffs. You know, they're a little bit close to the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always important for that. But it's not important for anything else, is it? Like, you make adjustments. I mean, it's also like in a vacuum, every game is fun, and you don't even have to care about the standings to have had a good time. Go Bills. But otherwise, you're making adjustments and doing things to try to win this game. It's important to win the game. Kansas City would have also wanted to win the game. Fine. But
if they see each other again, there's nothing that you can really take away from yesterday. And I really mean, I think nothing that you can really take away and say, like, oh, well, I have that figured out now. And therefore, I've cracked some kind of code. Because the code has never been that hard. The code is get to him. Can I get to him? Can I disrupt him? And then I maybe have a chance at slowing them down. And they did a great job of that yesterday. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you, even as the game was unfolding and they were in his lap, Mahomes' lap, really all afternoon and evening long, I'm thinking back to last year's AFC title game when it starts and suddenly there's all these quick-hitting passes. It doesn't really matter how good your pass rush is or whether Michael Hoyt has two good Achilles tendons. The ball's coming out in less than 2 seconds. That seemed like a pivot from the Chiefs last year when the Bills met the second time, and it worked for them. I mean, the Bills still were in the game. They didn't get blown off the field, but they could not get pressure. So I'm not assuming that the Chiefs won't pivot to that or something else that looks. I still remember talking to McDermott after that game. I don't know if he was on right after it happened, but at some point.
Which game?
The AFC title game.
Oh. And
asking him if they were surprised by how quick the ball was coming out or something. And he didn't get offended. He didn't go like Rex Ryan or anything on me, but he didn't sound like, he wanted to be characterized as not prepared for what the Chiefs did, but that's how it looked.
Coaches never want to admit that.
So, there's that. I mean, it does not tell you, to me, the answers to the questions that you have or we have about them in January when they play the Chiefs. So there's reason to be, I don't know about skeptical, but at least not, all right, well, I proved I can do that, because they've been proving they can do that. It's the 5th time in a row they've proven they can do that. And I'm glad they can do that. I'm glad they're a half game out of the 1 seed and a half game behind the Patriots and all the things. Like, to me, the table is still set for you to have a back half of the season here that nets you the 1 seed. You got to go get it. And then you're probably going to have to play that team again if they make it, which, I still would bet on them making it, but they aren't in right now, and we're 9 games in.
I'm really not. I have no right to be offensive line guy. And the Bills have had plenty of their own injury challenges, almost entirely on defense. But I think, like you said, what the number one angle of these games with Kansas City has been, which is Patrick Mahomes having time to be Patrick Mahomes. And in this game, he didn't. And the Chiefs are down, 3 linemen or more? I think that should probably change, but it doesn't have to. They could still have new injuries or whatever. You can't know. And I think if I'm Kansas City, I've got that, I don't want to say to fall back on, but as somewhat of an excuse for yesterday, because the Bills, for all the effort the Bills have made at this, they have not been successful really kind of until yesterday. They were very successful yesterday, and Bosa is such a big part of it. And I don't know, when they signed him, I'm like, don't play him until January.
Right.
And now the season's 9 weeks old, and he's thriving.
And they're going to need him all the more because I while they did not have Hoyt all along this season, is anyone going to argue that these last 2 weeks have looked like their best defensive games? I mean, they did a great job on the Chiefs yesterday, and they held Carolina to 9 points. I know it's Carolina with Andy Dalton, but Hoyt rushing in the middle, and just there's more juice there when he's there, and we barely got a chance to see it. Now he's done. And so that takes a lot of the wind out of it for me. I think it might have been the first thing I said yesterday when we got, up and running. What are your takeaways here? Like, I'm devastated that Hoyt got hurt. Like, it's crazy to me. We spent, the whole summer knowing he wasn't going to be available for these 6 games. And I would occasionally sort of want to guard against assuming too much. Like, wait till we get our guys back. Because that was there a lot in the first part of the season while he was serving his suspension along with Ogunjobi. So you want to, like, overstate how much you're anticipating an impact from the guy. But I think the impact was immediate and large. And now that's gone. And I don't know what they do. I mean, plug someone else into that role because, Oliver's not walking through that door either until maybe January, if at all. So I'm a little bummed out about that. But they had 2 really good outings with that guy in their lineup, and now he's gone. And so I wouldn't blame anyone who's now more focused on that side of the ball with tomorrow at 4 o'clock looming than receiver even. Like, I'd love to see both, but if I had to prioritize myself, not what I think they'll do, but like what I'm thinking, I want to go find someone to give me the juice Hoyt was giving me. Because I don't know if they have that internally. I mean, is Landon Jackson supposed to be able to do that? The guy can't even get a uniform. So I don't know what they're going to do with that spot.
I am not sure how I'll react to that. If there's a significant move, because like it was, how will this game shape what you want to do come the deadline? You've got the 1 game left with Kansas City, and then the deadline is Tuesday, and so tomorrow. And there were no trades before this game by the Bills. I guess we want to see it. Maybe there's a new injury, Maybe there's something else, like whatever it is that pushes them into a certain decision when it comes to the trades. Well, Josh Allen threw 3 incomplete passes. Tell me again about receiver and this GM who was defiant about what kind of effort he and they had made at that position. Now they're 6-2. They've had injuries. Kincaid is back. Palmer will be back. And are we, I already felt this way, really supposed to think that Bean wants to reverse course on that? No. Like, he might. I'd be really surprised, but he might if somebody good, Shaheed or somebody, comes available. Then you might even just want to keep him away from other teams. Like, you could imagine the Bills doing that. But this game did not lead you there. I mean, they threw 3 incomplete passes, 28 points, another win against this team in the regular season.
273 yards. I mean, passing. I mean, the passing offense looked healthy. It was all tight ends. Mostly. I mean, a few receivers had singular big plays, had 1 big play, but there just was not much else. So, I mean, I think even before Hoyt gets hurt, with Oliver out for the rest of the regular season, again, at least that's the expectation, there probably was an argument already to try to supplement, whether it's pass rush or defensive tackle specifically, maybe preferably a defensive tackle who can rush the passer, whatever. That was compelling enough before Hoyt gets hurt. I think Hoyt getting hurt springboards it ahead of whatever the receiver need is. Like, I would not want to base whether or not I had a good game yesterday passing the ball as my reason for not doing anything at receiver. But if I have something that's a bigger need and I only have so much cap room and so many assets that I can, afford to trade away, I might prioritize. I think I shouldn't say might. I think I would right now prioritize something to replace Hoyt/Oliver over receiver.
Well, that's the other side of that coin is, for as much belly aching as we've kind of all done about receiver, I doubt right now they're sitting in their office with the thought like, oh, we're in trouble at that position. But defense, maybe. And where I will run into perhaps some trouble is like just already they've spent so much time and money and effort on defense, and now we're going to do that again because of an injury. On one hand, this is what you do when you have a chance. We're here again. Like, They certainly do have a chance. But on the other, it's more capital and cap everything into defense if they do it. And it's already taken a toll on, I mean, maybe not because they're winning still, on kind of who they are with all the investments they've made on defense, rather. And some of it's worked out, some of it hasn't. But they are really trying to piece it together. And I just, within the overall blasé feeling I have about what yesterday's win does or is, I think part of it is I have lost to Kansas City. I mean, there's a list of reasons. And they've mostly been really close games, excruciatingly close games. Why have I not beaten them once in 4 tries in the playoffs? Coaching. I couldn't figure out what that was going to be on the last play last year. 13 seconds is one for the ages. Like, I think as relatively limited as they have been, not even really a good word for it, in certain position groups, they have been right there. Missed a field goal. Mm-hmm. I mean, Allen's decisions late in the third of the 4 losses, I thought were wrong. Just like little thing, and everything like that is coaching too. You got a 2-minute warning. Here's what we want to do here. Allen goes out and does the other thing. Like, coaching is not just having the thought, it's getting it across so that your players execute it. And as successful as they've been, that's for me like how they haven't beaten them one time when it matters. Now I've got another game, which is good, not bad, good, where, look at these adjustments, what they've done, pass rush and coverage and these cool things to win by 7. I'm kicking that field goal late. Yikes, right? I mean, what were the possible outcomes there? I make the field goal, the game is over. I punt, and the game is probably over, but maybe I'm haunted by 13 seconds and feel like there is no the game is over outcome here. And now I'm going to give the ball to 40. A couple of plays away. I mean, they didn't really come that close, but it gave Kansas City life there. Just, decisions and whatever else there is in this bucket for me is why. And I don't really love the idea, Bulldog, of the Bills having a game here where they did these adjustments to beat Kansas City, and if they play them again, we're fine because they did this in October or November. I just don't think it really works like that.
No, it doesn't. That's exactly what that's what I mean about, it doesn't really tell me anything. I'm already thinking about what Kansas City will do if they meet again. Because if they choose to do, now maybe the Bills will be more ready for it because they did it last year, and then there's only so many pages you can continue to rewrite your offensive philosophy. I mean, there's only so many different tactics you can deploy, but they found a way last year, and I better be ready for something else. Maybe that quick game is the thing, and I don't know what the pivot to that is because, again, that offsets pass rush. So if I supplement that to try to continue to do what I did yesterday against them and everyone else I play, I don't know that it'll necessarily – it certainly won't guarantee the same result because they will probably do something different, and maybe it'll be even drastically different. So there is always going to be that.
803-0550, Eric Wood at 4, Sal at 5 today. Mark is with us now. Hi, Mark.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
I'm really hoping that we go after a defensive player compared to receiver just based on how that defense, I thought we were running into a buzzsaw yesterday. I sold my tickets. I'm thinking, you know what, I made out on this. I made good money on them. I thought we were going to get boat raced. And this Michael Hoyt he added a dominating he just added to what Joey Bosa's been doing all year. He looks awesome. We have to add to this depth. I don't know. We don't know who's available. Like, I'm picturing a guy like Max Crosby. Can you imagine? You have to pay a lot to get him, but go for it. This is our window. This is what – this is where we want to be. The Eagles they won the Super Bowl, and they're trading at the deadline, and they're making these big moves. Brandon Beane's got to do something just to solidify this defense. Going into the playoffs every year, the offense has never really been the problem with. It's been stopping guys like Mahomes, guys like Burrow, getting to these guys. I thought the Eagles, they showed us last year. That's how you beat Mahomes. You rattle him, you hit him, and you make his life uncomfortable. But I was really encouraged from yesterday. I regret selling those tickets, and I'm going to have to listen to you guys. Thanks.
Well, buy something nice with the money. Just make yourself feel better, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I've already said it, but I'm sure I'll say it a lot between now and 4 o'clock tomorrow. If, and this is a big, bold lettered if, okay? Maybe even put it in safety orange if you want. If Brandon Beane was going to be reluctant to add to the receiver core because of just everything, like his philosophy, the build, him being so defensive about it. If he was going to be reluctant about it, he's got all the reason in the world now to follow through on it. Again, if you have a limited pool of resources, you're not going to make 3 trades or maybe even 2 trades. You're going to make 1 trade, right? I've got this much to play with. I've got this much cap room, so we can do one thing. What do we need most? I would totally understand if replacing Hoyt/Oliver jumped over receiver. If receiver was ever even on the list. I mean, there's plenty of reporting that says they have been calling New Orleans about their guys. So I want to trust that. It lines up with what a lot of us have been thinking, but I would understand pivoting to the other side of the ball, as much as it can be frustrating to see assets continually allocated there, and when January comes, you still can't stop this guy.
Well,
but they did yesterday, and to me, they have a need there now. I'm not worried at all about the back end. I feel like we are maybe a week or 2 away from Hairston playing more than Tre'Davious White. They split the reps there evenly yesterday, snap count wise. I just think that's coming for Hairston. And Hancock might be a little further away. Maybe there's a little sentiment floating around out there amongst Bills fans today that Poyer, even though physically he isn't up to what he used to be in his prime, maybe that's helping Bishop and stabilizing him and allowing him the freedom to make the plays he made yesterday. So, I'm all right back there right now. Up front, I've lost 2 of my most impactful guys in Oliver and Hoyt. And they're not coming back.
Kyle's next. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, guys. Love the show. Love it. I love your personalities. I want to listen all the time.
Thank you.
I love like the contrarian skeptic that is Schopp and kind of the passionate homer that is Bulldog. And I know that's not like a skit, right? I just love the dynamic. I will say, last night I'm listening to the post game, and I'm thinking to myself, as Mike just kind of reiterated, that he really wasn't moved by the game. And I always listen, Mike, because I like how you phrase things sometimes. But I'm like, how is that not a huge win? And you laid it out again. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, which I won't. But what I saw out of that game was Josh looked like Josh for the first time this year, really. The D looked younger and fresher and faster than we've seen at all. And I'm with you, Bulldog. Hoyt is different, and that was such a tease. And I am so excited to see him back. The Bills' O-line was moving the D-line. Forget about the D-line, our D-line. I mean, I know that's a big story today, 15 hits, all that stuff. But that was a different O-line performance than I've seen against the Chiefs before. And the Chiefs are 5-4 now, and the Bills are 6-2. So I understand all the reasons for us to be, not crazy excited about yesterday. But yesterday, in my opinion, definitely meant something. So I was curious, and probably more for Schopp than Bulldog, because I'm kind of more, I think, picking up on where Bulldog's at. I'm just curious as to why it didn't seem, you said a couple times, you feel like blasé. When I think, man, that's a really, really important win for us in a really tough spot when we needed it probably more than anyone to sort of keep our aspirations alive, not only in the division, but in the playoffs in general. So just curious to get kind of a little bit more of a feedback on that. Thanks, guys.
Big.
Love the show.
Thanks. It's big in the standings.
And that's really all of it to me. Again, you cannot get answers to the questions we're seeking until January. I mean, the Bills did the things we want to see them do to Mahomes and the Chiefs defensively. We want to see them do it in January. They don't get to do that again until January if they meet. But they did it yesterday, and the standings are really all of it to me. whoever you're playing, I need to keep stacking wins here and keep pace. I'm a half game behind. Indianapolis and New England, they haven't had their byes yet. I have. We've all got 2 losses. So to me, the whole thing is live. And that would feel very different to me. If it's just one more loss, but it would feel like I still got ground to make up. I'd be thinking about New England's schedule and just how likely it is they drop, 2 games instead of just 1 to let me, all of it. So that's entirely it to me, is the standings. And, the style points can matter. But again, to me, a big part of the style points that won them that game left after the third quarter with a torn Achilles. It's a big deal, the guy they lost. So I don't know how you can expect to replicate that without him. They did not have that juice rushing the passer without Hoyt. They've been good. Bosa's been winning. His win rate, he's been impactful. All their ends are winning their matchups. But to disrupt Mahomes to the extent to give him his first ever below 50% completion percentage as an NFL player, Hoyt got a lot of the juice there, and I don't have another guy there to do that.
Time for a break. Eric Wood at 4. We'll look for your calls again after this timeout here on WGR. Next, get started at northwest.com. I think I said the thing about the sun being out subconsciously. I was feeling like I heard yesterday from a friend that was listening to the postgame show, like, you sound grumpy. And maybe I did. This is somebody who I would expect to be right. And so,
I didn't like your tone at the beginning. I kind of yelled at you at the beginning. Like, what are you talking about?
Well,
I'm happy.
I can defend it. I don't think I was not of right mind yesterday, but I'm going to blame the Blue Jays.
Well, we did sort of open up almost. The first thing we almost said was the World Series result, I think, on postgame yesterday for like a minute or 30 seconds before we got into the football game.
The point is, you have a season and you get right there and lose. And there's a sense of like, well, who cares about anything else that happened? And it's not the same, but the Bills have had 5 of these in a row with the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And I do not blame anybody for yawning through this game yesterday because, like, so what? I'm not saying you have to feel that way or should. And that was my attitude about this game. Like, just, it's important. This is always the case. It's important in the standings. As we talked about all week last week about this, and anybody could know this, Kansas City is now 5-4. That's Carolina's record. Like, that's not a good record. And I still don't think, like, why would I now if I didn't on Friday when Joe sort of mocked me for saying this, like, Ostrowski, just like, they don't have to make the playoffs. They're a little bit close to the edge. Mm-hmm. So it's always important for that. But it's not important for anything else. Is it? Like, you make adjustments. I mean, it's also like in a vacuum, every game is fun, and you don't even have to care about the standings to have had a good time. Go Bills. But otherwise, you're making adjustments and doing things to try to win this game. It's important to win the game. Kansas City would have also wanted to win the game. Fine. But
if they see each other again, there's nothing that you can really take away from yesterday. And I really mean, I think nothing that you can really take away and say, like, oh, well, I have that figured out now. And therefore, I've cracked some kind of code. Because the code has never been that hard. The code is get to him. Can I get to him? Can I disrupt him? And then I maybe have a chance at slowing them down. And they did a great job of that yesterday. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you, even as the game was unfolding and they were in his lap, Mahomes' lap, really all afternoon and evening long, I'm thinking back to last year's AFC title game when it starts and suddenly there's all these quick-hitting passes. It doesn't really matter how good your pass rush is or whether Michael Hoyt has 2 good Achilles tendons. The ball's coming out in less than 2 seconds. That seemed like a pivot from the Chiefs last year when the Bills met the second time, and it worked for them. I mean, the Bills still were in the game. They didn't get blown off the field, but they could not get pressure. So I'm not assuming that the Chiefs won't pivot to that or something else that looks. I still remember talking to McDermott after that game. I don't know if he was on right after it happened, but at some point.
Which game?
The AFC title game.
Oh.
And asking him if they were surprised by how quick the ball was coming out or something. And he didn't get offended. He didn't go like Rex Ryan or anything on me, but he didn't sound like, he wanted to be characterized as not prepared for what the Chiefs did, but that's how it looked.
Coaches never want to admit that.
So, there's that. I mean, it does not tell you, to me, the answers to the questions that you have or we have about them in January when they play the Chiefs. So there's reason to be, I don't know about skeptical, but at least not, all right, well, I proved I can do that, because they've been proving they can do that. It's the 5th time in a row they've proven they can do that. And I'm glad they can do that. I'm glad they're a half game out of the 1 seed and a half game behind the Patriots and all the things. Like, to me, the table is still set for you to have a back half of the season here that nets you the 1 seed. You got to go get it. And then you're probably going to have to play that team again if they make it, which, I still would bet on them making it, but they aren't in right now, and we're 9 games in.
I'm really not. I have no right to be offensive line guy. And the Bills have had plenty of their own injury challenges, almost entirely on defense. But I think, like you said, what the number one angle of these games with Kansas City has been, which is Patrick Mahomes having time to be Patrick Mahomes. And in this game, he didn't. And the Chiefs are down, 3 linemen or more? I think that should probably change, but it doesn't have to. They could still have new injuries or whatever. You can't know. And I think if I'm Kansas City, I've got that, I don't want to say to fall back on, but as somewhat of an excuse for yesterday, because the Bills, for all the effort the Bills have made at this, they have not been successful really kind of until yesterday. They were very successful yesterday, and Bosa is such a big part of it. And I don't know, when they signed him, I'm like, don't play him until January.
Right.
And now the season's 9 weeks old, and he's thriving.
And they're going to need him all the more because while they did not have Hoyt all along this season, is anyone going to argue that these last 2 weeks have looked like their best defensive games? I mean, they did a great job on the Chiefs yesterday, and they held Carolina to 9 points. I know it's Carolina with Andy Dalton, but Hoyt rushing in the middle and just we barely got
how to play the game. We got to find somebody else that's going to step up, and we've been kind of one of those years. We've been tasked with doing that, and tonight you saw it again. So you can never replace one player. That said, it's about the team, and we got to continue to figure out how we can manufacture wins at this point, and just who's next up.
Next up for Sean McDermott and the Bills, team-wise, is Miami. Sunday at 1 in Miami. The Bills are 9.5-point favorites as I look just moments ago, 50.5. So your implied score there is 30-20.5. Okay. Is this the week to play Miami or the worst week to play Miami? The trade deadline is tomorrow. They've already traded Jalen Phillips. Maybe there will be more. I mean, I guess we'll find out on Sunday if it's sort of no pressure, nothing to lose.
Plucky underdogs have their day, or they just are like pity party.
They made their change at GM,
right,
but not at head coach. The first meeting was close. Dolphins are driving late, down 7. The Bernard interception. So, I mean, this is a good-looking game on the schedule, and the Bills have dominated the series. I don't know. This is one of those you always talk yourself into something.
I'm gonna trust that it's a great time to play the Miami Dolphins. I just think everyone there has got to know the coach is staying at least through the season is what the owner is reported to have told him. I'm sure everybody there is thrilled about that. I'm sure he's got his supporters there, but within the team, I mean. But I'll just bet guys are just going to be looking out for themselves at this point. If I'm a Miami Dolphin, I wouldn't expect much more. So I don't know. I mean, could Tua have a great day? I mean, I thought he'd have a good day against Baltimore, and he didn't. So there's no reason to think he couldn't have a good day. But I think they're toast. So I'd be surprised if that's not a comfortable cover for the Bills, honestly. It's only Monday.
You wouldn't take 2-0.
I didn't say that.
Not yet. I mean, it's a little early for that question. It's always too early for that question.
Yes, I guess so. But they've got to be cooked. So
I don't know.
You'd have to be the contrarian's contrarian. I feel like I'm daring you now to think Miami is going to have any real pulse.
The only thing I think is any point spread is created by there being pressure on both sides to whatever extent it means to get to a number like this. It's not 17. It's 9.5.
Right.
It's up a point from yesterday. But it's a division game. The first game was close. I mean, I'm not trying to talk you or anybody else into the Dolphins.
Anybody else they trade, I don't think is going to move the point spread very much. I mean, maybe if
Waddle.
they were to remove Waddle from the mix, that maybe that would be a half a point added on. But I don't any other defenders that they're going to move. I don't think. Like I saw something about Mika Fitzpatrick today. I'm sure they'd love to unload Bradley Chubb if they could. I don't think any of that moves the line, but it's more for Joe and Sam later in the week.
Trade Waddle to the Bills. Revenge game immediately. Sean next. Hello, Sean.
Hey guys, love your show.
Thank you.
It's great. You guys really touch on a lot of great topics. Just the first question: do you think the Bills have any shining stars still in the guys that they have right now? And do you think it's time for Buffalo Joe to fill the shoes and get a starting spot? Love your show, guys.
Okay, thank you. No, I think Joe Andreessen is being utilized appropriately at this point. I still think they've got. As the defense was really good yesterday, I'm not sure what's up with Bernard. I just do not feel like that is where it had been earlier, and maybe that was just like that was new and exciting, and there were big plays right away. And you just referenced the Miami game, and there was a huge play in that game by him. But I feel like down in, down out, he's not had a very good year. But even with that said, no, I don't need more Andreessen at this point. It's a good story. I think he's filled the role, and good for him. I also don't know. I mean, I guess this sort of dovetails with the previous question. Is there someone else hiding out that they can suddenly be struck by lightning that gets on the field and like, oh, look at this guy? I don't know, man. I feel like Hairston, Hancock. I don't know how much deeper you could expect to plumb the roster and find people that can serve roles for you. So I think they're there. I think that like this is who they are. They got to me. That's why I want to go add someone. I don't think Javon Solomon and/or Landon Jackson are going to give you the juice that Michael Hoyt was giving you, rushing the passer. I think you're going to have to go outside the organization if you want to find that somewhere else. I mean, Solomon's had some moments, but Hoyt there was a lot of juice there.
Thanks, Sean. Here's Rick next. Hi, Rick.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, Rick. Thank you.
Good. I just wanted to kind of ask your perspective on picking up the receiver, because everyone keeps talking about getting a receiver. When we got Amari Cooper, we didn't do anything. We really didn't use him to his potential, I felt like. What do you guys think about that? Should we even waste that time?
I don't think it's wasted time at all. I know how it ended up going with Cooper. The production was not there. I think the player was not what he had been earlier in his career. And that's convenient for me to say now because he never played another down of NFL football after finishing out the season here with the Bills. So it may have been that they just jumped on a guy who had been a number one and he was done and they didn't know it. But their offense still did function. They got their 30 points a game down the stretch. I mean, they scored. So I would never, because a trade didn't work one year, say I'm not doing that again. I mean, I wouldn't trade for the same player again, and hopefully you can avoid getting someone that's that far on the downside. But I would always be looking. You're trying to win the Super Bowl. A caller already said it. Philadelphia is the defending champs, and they went out and added pass rush already here a day before, more than 24 hours ahead of the deadline. So I think if teams are going to do that, I need to be one of them. I don't want to just buy something just to buy something because I have money and I went to the store. It's got to be the right guy.
I've done that.
We've all done that probably. But I'm always going to be looking. I do think, though, I've said a few times, and I guess I should keep saying it because we have been on receiver for so long, and I have, with this deadline in mind, been on receiver. I think defensive line, defensive tackle, pass rush outranks it now as a need.
For me, it's more just been quickly not getting to a point where I thought Bean would do it at receiver. I think they've planted their flag, and it would just be so weird if they did. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Wouldn't have to look at it that way. Oh, well, things change, and we decided this is what we need, and the price changed on this player, or whatever. Like, it wouldn't have to be weird, but it would be strange. I've just never really been expecting it, and maybe we'll still get it. We've got a day here to find out. Dennis is next. Hello.
Hey, guys. So, thrilled about the win. Defense, I felt looked great. Best I've seen them look in a long time, and I was actually kind of thinking that was going to be the reason we didn't get where we needed to go was because of them. But if they play like that, I feel like my next point, is something that I'm just really confused about, I guess. So Dalton Kincaid, I think, is probably our best offensive weapon that I would consider as a pass catcher. I think Shakir is shifty. He's good after the catch. But as far as like a pure, serious weapon, I think it's got to be Kincaid. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but, if you look at other teams' best weapons, they're on the field 80% of the time plus, right? But, I mean, Jefferson and Chase and these guys, they don't come off the field. He had a 38% snap share yesterday, and the week before that he had a 22% snap share. He had 14 snaps against Carolina, and he had 22 snaps last night. I just, I hear a lot of callers saying, do we have the answer in-house? Out of 22 snaps, he caught 6 balls for 104 yards and a touchdown. I mean, what are we doing not getting him on the field? He's got to be right now, in my estimation, he is the answer that we have in-house. And for whatever reason, I mean, Jackson Hall is a nice story and all that, but he's out-snapping Kincaid. Yeah. I don't get that.
Well, it's because they want to run it, and they like the heavy sets that Hawes is a part of with Knox, and Kincaid is largely not. I mean, when they go 2 tight ends to run, that's what they're going to do. I suspect, I happen to agree with you, Kincaid has been their best. He's been their most effective, most efficient weapon catching the ball. Cook is another matter. He's a running back, and he barely gets targeted, but he did have one big catch yesterday. So Kincaid has been their most efficient, effective pass catcher. He's nursing an oblique injury. He had his season last year undone by multiple leg injuries, and I think as much as his snap count is a function of running the ball and Hawes and Knox being featured in those sets, I think it fits nicely with them trying to guard against overworking Kincaid. I think he's so important right now that they want to max out his production by, I know this sounds crazy, minimizing the opportunities for something to go wrong, for him to get hurt. I really think load management is what we're seeing with Kincaid. Because if they could trust him to play more snaps, I think maybe you'd see it. It would eat into the other stuff a little bit, at least. But I suspect that that's load management.
Ange, is it you?
Hi, guys. It's me.
How are you?
We're good. I'm good. Thanks for taking me on.
Of course.
I just had a comment about, I know that this was not the January, and we haven't beaten them in January. But I think this game was a little more than what you guys are portraying it as. Kansas City wanted this game. Kansas City may not make the playoffs. And I know you can't have a playoff game in the middle of the season, but this was pretty close to a playoff game for Kansas City, and we beat them. So they didn't do the things that they would be expected to do to win a playoff game. Did they hold back because it wasn't a playoff game? I don't think so. I think they tried as hard as hell to win the game, and we beat them. So it means a little more than just, oh, well, yeah, it's Kansas City. Call us back in January. That we may not even have to worry about Kansas City in January. Maybe we ought to be thinking about how are we going to beat New England in the playoffs, or how are we going to beat Denver in the playoffs. So give them a little credit. It was a great game. It was a great game to watch, and we beat that damn Kansas City.
I'll tell you what I liked the most yesterday, Ange, and I would say the Bills' performance would be second only to this. That patch on the Chief jersey.
You know what? I love it. I used to love the Chiefs because of that. It's terrific. I wish every AFL team would wear it. But after being beaten to head by them for so long, I'm starting to dislike them.
Can't see it the same way anymore.
You're not as sentimental about the patch that you helped create and make
great patch.
real.
I like to see it. I used to cheer for them when they went to the Super Bowl because you could see the AFL patch in the Super Bowl. But we got to beat them. We got to get past them.
Is it too late for the Bills to start wearing one?
It's never too late. They could wear one with RW on it for Ralph Wilson. I think it would be terrific.
If you want help promoting that, I'm here for you. I'm sure Bulldog would join me.
Great.
Thanks, Ange.
Good to hear from you, man.
All right. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog with Eric Wood at 4. This is WGR.
To see it, now he's done. And so that takes a lot of the wind out of it for me. I think it might have been the first thing I said yesterday when we got up and running. What are your takeaways here? Like, I'm devastated that Hoyt got hurt. Like, it's crazy to me. We spent the whole summer knowing he wasn't going to be available for these 6 games, and I would occasionally sort of want to guard against assuming too much. Like, oh, wait till we get our guys back, because that was there a lot in the first part of the season while he was serving his suspension along with Ogunjobi. So you want to overstate how much you're anticipating an impact from the guy, but I think the impact was immediate and large, and now that's gone. And I don't know what they do. I mean, plug someone else into that role because, Oliver's not walking through that door either until maybe January, if at all. So I'm a little bummed out about that. But they had 2 really good outings with that guy in their lineup, and now he's gone. And so I wouldn't blame anyone who's now more focused on that side of the ball with tomorrow at 4 o'clock looming than receiver even. Like, I'd love to see both, but if I had to prioritize myself, not what I think they'll do, but like what I'm thinking, I want to go find someone to give me the juice Hoyt was giving me. Because I don't know if they have that internally. I mean, is Landon Jackson supposed to be able to do that? The guy can't even get a uniform. So I don't know what they're going to do with that spot.
I am not sure how I'll react to that. If there's a significant move, because like it was, how will this game shape what you want to do come the deadline? You've got the one game left with Kansas City, and then the deadline is Tuesday, and so tomorrow. And there were no trades before this game by the Bills. I guess we want to see it. Maybe there's a new injury, Maybe there's something else, like whatever it is that pushes them into a certain decision when it comes to the trades. Well, Josh Allen threw 3 incomplete passes. Tell me again about receiver and this GM who was defiant about what kind of effort he and they had made at that position. Now they're 6-2. They've had injuries. Kincaid is back. Palmer will be back. And are we, I already felt this way, really supposed to think that Bean wants to reverse course on that? No. Like, he might. I'd be really surprised, but he might if somebody good, Shaheed or somebody, comes available. Then you might even just want to keep him away from other teams. Like, you could imagine the Bills doing that. But this game did not lead you there. I mean, they threw 3 incomplete passes, 28 points, another win against this team in the regular season.
273 yards. I mean, passing. I mean, the passing offense looked healthy. It was all tight ends, mostly. I mean, a few receivers had singular big plays, had one big play, but there just was not much else. So, I mean, I think even before Hoyt gets hurt, with Oliver out for the rest of the regular season, again, at least that's the expectation, there probably was an argument already to try to supplement whether it's pass rush or defensive tackle specifically, maybe preferably a defensive tackle who can rush the passer, whatever, that was compelling enough before Hoyt gets hurt. I think Hoyt getting hurt springboards it ahead of whatever the receiver need is. Like, I would not want to base whether or not I had a good game yesterday passing the ball as my reason for not doing anything at receiver. But if I have something that's a bigger need and I only have so much cap room and so many assets that I can, afford to trade away, I might prioritize. I think I shouldn't say might. I think I would right now prioritize something to replace Hoyt/Oliver over receiver.
Well, that's the other side of that coin is for as much belly aching as we've kind of all done about receiver, I doubt right now they're sitting in their office with the thought like, oh, we're in trouble at that position. But defense, maybe. And where I will run into perhaps some trouble is like just already they've spent so much time and money and effort on defense. And now we're going to do that again because of an injury. On one hand, this is what you do when you have a chance. We're here again. Like, you certainly do have a chance. But on the other, it's more capital and cap everything into defense if they do it. And it's already taken a toll on, I mean, maybe not because they're winning still, on kind of who they are with all the investments they've made on defense, rather. And some of it's worked out, some of it hasn't. But they are really trying to piece it together. And I just, within the overall blasé feeling I have about what yesterday's win does or is, Football Monday on WGR. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Thanks for listening. Eric Wood coming up in less than 15 minutes. Apparently, I see that I've received 10 Odyssey points today.
Oh.
Usually you have to do something.
Is that like that alternate email thing that we have? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay.
But on like the corporate site, or you'll get an email if you get points.
Okay. Yeah.
Some of the fun team stuff I do.
Yeah.
Someone else on the fun team will give me points, but I've been a little bit lax lately in my fun team duties. I missed the Halloween party. But no, you get 10 Odyssey points when it's your birth month.
Oh.
Just like that. All you have to do is work here. Bam. I don't know what to do with any of these points. I think you can probably buy a coffee mug or something.
Yeah, or like a quarter zip or something maybe.
Oh, wow. Well, if that's a possibility,
maybe
I might have to.
Maybe you got to save them up. Maybe 10 isn't enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think it probably isn't, but I really don't know.
I got to start paying attention to that kind of thing.
You do.
I think I got some of that sort of notifications back in the summer around the ride for Roswell, I think.
Yeah, you might have gotten some points for that.
Yeah.
You should have.
Yeah. I think I did. I just didn't. I might be sitting on a treasure trove of. I've been working here a long time. So have you.
So have I.
Maybe we've got a lot. Maybe we could
buy the company.
Buy a radio station.
Maybe we could fix the carpet.
Because that's what I want to do. I want to go into business for myself now.
Yo, you don't? I kind of do. I sort of think about that.
Yeah.
Mike Schopp Enterprises.
Yeah.
Inc. LLC.
What sorts
MD.
of what sorts of no, I'll stop.
What would I do?
Yeah, like what do you
own a bar
besides this? Yeah. All right.
It's probably really hard. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I feel like running a business would be taxing.
Oh, I get it.
I didn't mean that.
You'd have to pay taxes on the business. Bob is with us. Hello, Bob.
Hey, guys. I was echoing your thoughts, Bulldog, when I heard the post-game show, and the wind was taken out of my sails the moment I saw that Hoyt got, tore his Achilles. It was obvious, and it was just really disheartening to see that. But at the same time, the one thing I wanted to point out, which I thought it was interesting, is, a couple weeks ago, McDermott had indicated that they still needed to find their identity. And I think it's obvious to me, I don't know if it is to you guys, that this whole offense revolves around the run game. This is a run identity offense, which is really kind of alarming considering how important, how great Josh Allen is. But this really, when our run game is on, when we're pulling, when we're zone, that zone blocking scheme that we're using, when it's consistent, there's just not a lot of teams that could even slow us down. So I just want to get your thoughts on that. And thanks for taking my call, guys.
Sure thing. Yeah, they mentioned it numerous times on the broadcast yesterday. They are the only team that runs it more than they throw it in the entire league. League average is around 60-40. The Bills are just a tick above 50. So it's not like they're, way, but they're that's still like 10% higher than league average running. So they're an even split. And
Part of it is because they're winning all the time.
Right. That does have to do with it. But I thought Romo made a few times a very interesting point about it. And I don't know, maybe it's not that interesting. I just liked how he presented it. Like, first down. Look at first down here. And if it's 2nd and 9, the Chiefs might get off the field. If it's 2nd and 4, they're not. Like, the Bills' pass game can be effective enough to keep the chains moving if they get their 5 or 6 yards on first down. But when they stuff the Bills, I should go back, and there are at least a couple of circumstances where first down runs, especially in the second half, didn't work, and the Bills never got moving. So it is, their passing game has become somewhat dependent on getting yards on first down if they're going to run it.
And the caller's like, it's alarming, and they win all the time, and I'm so with him. And there are so many of us who are also alarmed by this and can't sit still because of it. We'll see what happens. Put it to Eric Wood, maybe. Eric Wood joins us next here on WGR. Great move.
The Buffalo Bills moved to 6-2 on the season following yesterday's win over Kansas City. Though some tough injury news for the second straight week. Edge rusher Michael Hoyt confirmed last night to have torn his Achilles. We'll see if there's any other injury news out of this game when head coach Sean McDermott does speak with the media in the next hour or so. Could be even in the next 10 minutes or so. Next up for the Bills, they're heading down to South Florida. Divisional matchup. They take on the Dolphins Sunday at 1 p.m. Before that, though, it is the trade deadline. That is tomorrow, and the Eagles are already getting ahead of schedule. They are adding edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins for a 2026 third-round pick. Some torn ACLs yesterday. Packers tight end Tucker Kraft and 49ers rookie edge Mykel Williams, both of them out for the season. And Week 9 is going to wrap up tonight with Monday Night Football. The Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett will get the start at quarterback. Kickoff at 8:15, and you can listen to that game right here on WGR with coverage beginning at 7:30. Sabres are in action again until tomorrow. They are going to host Utah, though both forwards Jason Zucker and Yuri Kulik are considered doubtful for tomorrow. That according to head coach Lindy Ruff. While tonight, just 4 games in the NHL. 7:30 sees Toronto hosting Pittsburgh. 2 games at 8:30, Oilers at St. Louis and Vancouver at Nashville. The night's going to wrap up at 10. The Kraken will host the Chicago Blackhawks. And college basketball also got underway today. St. Bonaventure was in action earlier today. They did take down Bradley 69-63. And then coming up later tonight, UB men host Southern Miss at 6:30. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. UB women also in action. They are at Marshall. That game will get going at 6. And then Niagara, they are at Duquesne at 7. That game can be heard over on AM 1400. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Football Monday on WGR, always a highlight to bring on Eric Wood. Eric has been on our show since early in his playing days on Mondays, usually at this time. And because I'm not that creative, many times I will start the conversation with Eric having asked him, so what is the thing about this game you'll remember best? And at the risk of sounding, as I know I do to some fans, like I'm just not impressed at all by the Bills, which is not how I feel. This is the kind of game where I'm not sure I'll ever remember anything about it because of the playoff history. And if this year is different, then so be it. But if this year is different, it'll be the playoffs that I remember anyway. So I don't know, Eric. Of course it was interesting and important, definitely important, this game. But the Bills are kind of unfortunately burdened by their history in the series. And I don't know. How do you think a player would have celebrated last night after this win?
I mean, you celebrate the victory. You know, it's a big one. Obviously, you have another potentially top AFC opponent. You know, when you look at playoffs and everything else, it's a big game. You know, anytime you go and beat a team like the Chiefs, you're happy about it. I mean, they've had the best sustained success. Has been a dynasty for them, essentially. And so you celebrate that one. You're excited about it. You know, do you celebrate it more than others? Maybe a little bit. Maybe you feel a little bit better after that one as opposed to, you know, an NFC win a week ago against Carolina. But, you know, I am with you with hey, we got to do it in the playoffs. But yesterday had some pretty big implications as far as staying, you know, just behind the Patriots division, what that could do with tiebreakers, with Kansas City down the road, and all of that. And then also some of the bright spots that we continue to see where you have the pass game come alive, you're still able to run the football with James Cook, and then defensively another strong showing, 2 in a row coming off the bye.
You know, my thought on Mike's question, not that he asked me, but I think he really did at the beginning of yesterday's postgame show, and my answer is still the same today, pending what happens the rest of the way. If they continue to raise hell the way they did yesterday, especially against that quarterback and that team, getting to Mahomes the way they did, then maybe Michael Hoyt's injury will just be a footnote and we'll just root for good health and he comes back next year. if they can't find a way to keep the juice that he was giving them, I'm going to remember this game for watching it and halfway through it, texting friends and going, this Hoyt is like, he's making a difference. There's so much juice. And then 5 minutes later, he's on the sidelines with a torn Achilles. Like, I'm really, really super bummed out about. I was bummed out about Ed Oliver last week too. This just felt like we barely got a chance to know this guy, and I think he was really. Maybe I'm overstating it. You tell me. I'm open to being smacked here. I just feel like he was giving them a lot of juice, Eric.
He was. It was evident last week against Carolina, and then he was making an impact yesterday against Kansas City as well. And yeah, the pass rush comes alive. 15 quarterback hits on Mahomes. That's the most in any game in his career. But I will say Bosa has been winning a lot on the edge throughout the season. At times the coverage just on the back end wasn't good enough where quarterbacks could get rid of the ball so fast. He wasn't able to get home, or the rush around him, whether it was Rousseau not getting there or Epinesa or whoever, wasn't getting there as well, and you could kind of avoid the one rusher. And so, a game like that, if the coverage holds up, that was coming for Joey Bosa. He's had a productive year all year. And so the back-end coverage these last couple weeks, and, last week you kind of dismiss it with it being Andy Dalton and the Panthers, and you make them one-dimensional so early in the game. Well, what they're doing with the defensive personnel in the back end, Cole Bishop played incredible yesterday. Cam Lewis steps up with Taron Johnson out. Max Harrison, running stride for stride with Worthy multiple times throughout the game on deep routes. Like, that's why you drafted him in the first round. I know we always say you draft to win your division. Well, when you're a perennial power like the Bills, you're drafting to get to the Super Bowl and win it. And when you watch the Kansas City game in the playoffs last year, the thing that stood out to me the most was that we could not keep up with the receivers. No, we were not putting enough pressure on Patrick Mahomes, but he was getting rid of the ball so fast because we couldn't keep up with the receivers, and we would play zone. He'd pick us apart. We'd go to man. They'd run crossing routes and run away from us. So encouraged by the back end of the defense as well yesterday.
Eric, so I guess maybe you would be this way. I don't know. Watching the game, are you thinking about like the long game with the Chiefs, and one team makes adjustments, the other team probably will adjust to those when the playoffs come around? All that said about the Bills' performance on defense yesterday, Kansas City down linemen. Will they? Would you expect them, if they make it, right? Can we say that, if they make it to a rematch with this team with the Bills in the postseason, was their performance the kind where you'd think like, okay, well, the offensive line injuries and A, B, and C, this is what they can do to counteract that? Or maybe like starting with Bosa, I want to say, if everybody like is healthy that's left, will they have a tough time doing that?
I think so. I mean, when you talk about the protection, yes, they had Juwan Taylor get injured, and Wanya Morris comes in for a bit, and then Juwan Taylor, I believe, came back in. But to me, he's not a high-end starter by any means at right tackle. He's a penalty machine.
Penalty machine.
And then on the other, and then on the other side, you're playing a backup, but you have I believe he's a rookie.
Yeah.
The guy who's out for personal reasons, and so to me, I don't know that offensive line gets considerably better throughout the rest of the season, but it's just funny because I've listened to a whole lot of national narratives, and last week it was, we're not going to be able to, compete with this Chiefs offense, and then now it's today. They're putting in, this is MVP favorite Patrick Mahomes. This is the best he's looked. They have so many weapons on the outside. Kelsey's back. Well, now it's they're putting too much on his plate. They got to get a run game going.
Right.
It's like we flipped all that, and just before I got on, I looked, and you talk about that game means one AFC win. It's not a division win, but the Bills go from the fourth betting favorites to win the Super Bowl to the first betting favorites. Josh Allen now becomes the favorite to win league MVP based upon one performance. So I guess from a national perspective, people were pretty impressed by the Bills' performance yesterday.
Yeah, not being able to block him is a big deal. Simmons had been really excellent for them before this personal stuff came up, so we'll see if that stabilizes. Reportedly, he was back with the team today, so and they've got a bye week, so I would expect him to be back on the field, I think, by the time they play again, the Chiefs. But, yeah, I'm sorry I don't want to dwell on Hoyt. You made a good point about the back end, and they're getting some contributions now from a lot of different guys there that can have you feeling optimistic. Yesterday was the first time I ever thought this group of Bills might be unblockable up front.
Well, it becomes really difficult when you got a guy like Michael Hoyt is so active, and then he can play across the board. You have Rousseau, you have Bosa, and they all kind of bring different things to the table. And so moving forward, I mean, unless we do something at the trade deadline or, maybe – we move. I don't know that you necessarily want to move Bosa around more and inside and all that. Honestly, I think you try and have Dorian Williams become more of that. I mean, he's a thumper. He's physical. He's active. Yesterday we had him playing in kind of that. We had like a 3-down lineman look on third downs or obvious pass situations with Dorian Williams spying a lot of times on Patrick Mahomes and then adding on whenever Mahomes would break the pocket. Maybe he just becomes more of a rusher up there, or we bring a 3-man rush. And then late in the game, Joey Bosa had a hit, and we all celebrate Joey Bosa for the hit. Well, Hoyt was out of the game. Javon Solomon comes in. He's playing at stand-up defensive tackle. He picks the absolute crap out of the tackle.
Yeah, he
Joey
beat the
Bosa
doors off that guy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that frees up Bosa. And it's like, can Javon Solomon, in his second year develop? But, guys are going to go down throughout the season. It absolutely sucks that it's Hoyt because, Bulldog, I'll be honest, I was about as excited as you these last couple weeks seeing him in action. And, when the Bills went after him so early in free agency, after what I saw when we played against him with the Rams last year, I got really excited about how they were going to use him. In the preseason, they stuck him at defensive end and just let him rush the passer.
Right.
I mean, they gave him so much freedom out there. And I think we talked about this last week where Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich, the defensive ends, you don't often see them like standing up and walking around before the snap. And they were giving him a ton of freedom, even on rundowns, to stand up, kind of mess with the bit, split out maybe a little bit further out near the tight end. To me, they had a lot of trust and faith in him, and it's really unfortunate he goes down.
Well, I really like this Dorian Williams idea. Really what I like is it opens a doorway to perhaps them just trying to find someone who can as closely as possible replicate what Hoyt was giving them. Because, maybe that's not as as heavy a lift as I'm making it sound like. And then there is also, you already alluded to it, the trade deadline is less than 24 hours away now. And the Hoyt and Oliver injuries in back-to-back weeks, for me anyway, I mean, I realize everyone's going to be different about this, vaults defensive tackle / pass rush / Hoyt replacement ahead of any receiver desires I have, honestly. And you know how we all in here have felt about receivers, Eric. It's like a cottage industry at the station. But I would totally understand if they prioritized, if they don't think they have a suitable replacement in-house, go find somebody. Because I think there's a lot to be said for having that versatility on your defensive line.
I'm with you, and one game doesn't change everything, but you saw yesterday what this receiving core, even without Palmer, can do, and it's a lot of the tight ends usage. We saw more throws to the running backs yesterday. Shakir, big game. Kincaid, massive game. Dawson Knox with a nice catch down the field. Elijah Moore has a nice corner route in the second half, and so, is that a world-beater group of receivers? When you look around the league, not necessarily. Keon Coleman, a couple catches yesterday, but, Josh throws for over 270 yards and has a really productive day against a Kansas City defense that everyone was saying is, they're so good. Well, here comes the offense. Now they're unbeatable again. And the passing game looked good yesterday. So I'm with you in the fact that if you're going to go out and look to add bodies, I mean, just really based upon how many guys are out, you'd probably look at the defensive line. Now, TJ Sanders should be back in a few weeks, we heard. or I think Sean McDermott said hopefully in a few weeks, and then Daquan Jones hopefully back before long. But, if you can add just bodies up there, I think you got to try and do it.
McDermott said earlier that Jones and a few others will practice in some capacity today, or this week, rather. So maybe, we had this argument last week, trending in the right direction. Because Bulldog said he's not. That Bulldog has said about himself that he's not trending in the right direction. And then it got existential. It's like, well, nobody is.
Yeah.
Once you're born.
It got really heavy, Eric.
But, these guys that are hurt, you'd expect them to get better. Like, that's hopefully usually going to be the case without putting a timeline on it.
Oh, that's funny.
What about the Chiefs? You said a little bit already with the offensive line analysis. How good would you feel if you were a Chiefs fan about the season?
I don't think I'd be in ultimate panic mode, but they need to get hot quick. I mean, you're third place in your division, sitting at 5-4. Maybe their luck's run out. Last year they win 10 one-score games in the regular season. This year they're 0-4 in one-score games. So maybe not getting the same breaks that they got a year ago. But, to me, you got most of the cast back that's been extremely dominant. You need this offensive line to play better than it did yesterday. With Pacheco out, you don't have much of a run game. That could be an issue some weeks if your passing game's not going like it wasn't yesterday. I mean, that was Patrick Mahomes' lowest completion percentage of his career. And then defensively, the Bills put up 28. If they were pressed to, they probably could have put up more. But to me, they still have a strong defense. They're a great tackling defense. They have a great scheme, and they have some guys. I mean, Chris Jones shows up in the playoffs in a big way, and so I wouldn't be overly concerned. But I think they have like a 4% chance at the 1 seed. Potentially not even win your division. This is going to be a different road for them than they've seen in most recent years.
A little bit like 2 years ago, which, they navigated it, having to come here and then go to Baltimore. They did win that year. Maybe they end up there. They have the bye this week, and then it's at Denver. And Denver and New England making the Bills and Chiefs season more complicated, giving them a challenge in their respective divisions. Did you get to see any of the Colt game yesterday with the Bills game starting so late? What happened? Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say we had it on in the booth, but I wasn't paying super close attention to it. But it looked like a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
And, Colts got behind. But, I'm not saying we're all wishing for it or waiting for expecting it. But, I mean, can Daniel Jones sustain that level of play for an entire season as – teams are getting to see how Shane Steichen is using him throughout the season. We'll see. Now, they got a great rushing attack. Jonathan Taylor didn't have a great day yesterday, but when you're playing from behind, it's tough to continue to lean into the run game. But, I mean, they're a solid team. To me, I just don't know that I have the faith in Daniel Jones to keep playing at a high level.
Right. Indianapolis at 7-2 with their loss to the Steelers, a pretty decisive one. So it's Miami this week, Eric. And the deadline is tomorrow. They've already made one move, Jalen Phillips, for a draft pick. The GM was fired. I mean, I'm guessing you'll say that the players really are just going to block out any of that stuff with the Dolphins, and maybe the Bills will get enhancements of their own by tomorrow.
Maybe even from the Dolphins.
Maybe even from the Dolphins.
Who knows? We'll see.
But it's
when we were talking about trades earlier, I'm like, it kind of stinks that two of the potential biggest sellers in the Jets and the Dolphins are in our division, where it would be a lot tougher to get those guys from them.
Can you see Miami sort of like what's left to lose this week after the GM being fired and whatever else happens with trades? Like they have primetime games, the last two even. I mean, the Ravens game was a night game. I know that. They've sort of been in the spotlight for their failures. And the Baltimore game was just not even competitive at all. Here's a Bills team that just always beats them. They probably should just let it out. maybe that ends up going worse for them, but I think maybe the pressure comes off a little bit here for them.
Yeah, I think so. And it's, hey, let's go shock the world. Let's do this and that. And then you fall down 2 or 3 scores, then it's, all right, here we go again. And that's where, if you're the Bills, and I said this on One Bills Live earlier, but it's one of those situations where in your mind, if we can jump on them early, they probably have some quit in them, but go into a game where that's your complete mindset, because then if it doesn't go that way, you almost kind of get in a little bit of a panic mode. Okay, well, now our script's off. And so, most NFL games are decided by one score or less. We'd expect this one, if the Bills keep playing like they are, to do something similar to the Ravens and be a double-digit win down there in Miami. But, yeah, those guys in the locker room, they're playing for their jobs. They're playing, whether it's going to be in Miami or somewhere else, they're going to be trying to go out and put out good film, and you go do it against the Bills. It looks pretty good when you consider you're playing against now the betting Super Bowl favorite.
Eric, I apologize for jumping around, but I got one more thing off of yesterday's game, and really even the whole season. No, it's not about. No, I'm done. I think we've covered Michael Hoyt. I still have two hours to go, so I can continue to lament his injury.
I'm upset about. Not this is the least of anybody's concern, but I was extremely excited. I was going to record a podcast with Michael Hoyt tomorrow. We set it up a week ago, and I was just excited to pick his brain, and we'll do it at some point down the road. But I texted over to One Bills Drive today and said, hey, we'll revisit this down the line
at a more appropriate time. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about Kincaid, because he's very effective, very efficient when he's on the field. He had a great day yesterday, but the snap count is so low, and I'm wondering what things you think might be contributing to that, or are, if you know. Obviously, Hawes and Knox and two tight ends and running the ball, and, I know they use three tight ends sometimes too, but the two tight end thing with the two better blockers is one reason. I'm wondering, probably one reason. I'm wondering if, it's a load management thing, the oblique, his legs from last year, because otherwise, I think he's so dangerous, it feels like he should play more.
No, I'm with you, and I think some of it probably is that oblique and a little bit of load management there. Now, the Bills have been so successful putting Gilliam on the field, who Reggie Gilliam is a whole lot of fun to watch throughout a game. I mean, he is extremely physical out there and a good athlete at that. He's awesome on special teams as well, but you want to get Gilliam on the field. Hawes is your best blocker at tight end. Dawson's kind of your best combo guy. And so there's times where I'm sure when they're doing the game plan, Kincaid's just off the field on those plays or those formations based upon that personnel. But, I mean, he seems to be our most dangerous weapon down the field right now. I mean, the crossing routes, the corner route he had early in the game on third down. I mean, Drew Tranquil trips over his feet because he can't keep up with him and get an easy score on third and long. That's pretty special. And so, yeah, I would assume it's a little bit of load management based upon that oblique, especially last week when you look at the snap count against Carolina. And then moving forward, okay, how do we incorporate him in more? Because when you talk about the downfield passing game, Kincaid seems to be your best target, and him and Josh just this year seem to be on a much better page to where Josh's lowest completion percentage to any target last year was to Dalton Kincaid. Now this year, that's flipping where they are completely in sync. And then late in the game, Josh took a sack on a blitz that they had a free rusher. We didn't get the protection right, and Kincaid saw the hot, and he sits. And I wish Josh would have saw him because he would have had another. I mean, it would have been a first down. I'm not saying it would have been a huge game, but it was a great awareness by Kincaid. And that, when you go back and watch stuff on film or even go to the sideline and look at the cards, Josh can be like, okay, now I can even further rely on him.
That's going to be there, yeah.
He knows,
yeah,
he knows exactly where to be, and he's watching the blitz, which you would assume everybody can and will do in the NFL. But when you talk about a disjointed passing game and trusting receivers and all that we're hearing out of One Bills Drive from Josh and Sean and Joe Brady, there's your guy, and there's a moment where they can say, hey, this is your guy you can trust.
Thank you, Eric. We'll talk again next Monday.
Okay, sounds good. You guys have a great week.
All right, you too. That is Eric Wood. His appearance here weekly on WGR is brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. And by Northtown Kia, Western New York's #1 Kia dealer. Shop at northtownkia.com.
Lines open for your calls next, 803-0550. Sal Capaccio will join us at 6. Now that's been changed, but that'll be still to come today. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, Football Monday on WGR.
Bills head coach Sean McDermott just wrapped up speaking with the media today following yesterday's win. Gave a little bit of an injury update, some positive, some negative. Daquan Jones, Josh Palmer, and Shaq Thompson all expected to practice to some capacity this week as the team does get ready to head down to Miami. And the team is also going to be taking it one day at a time with cornerback Taron Johnson. All four of them did not play against Kansas City. And then on the not great side of things, not really good signs for rookie cornerback Dorian Strong. McDermott did say the latest reports for him are not going in the right direction. Does not, though, want to delve into the details for respect to Strong, who is on IR with a neck injury. We'll get more on what we heard today when Sal Capaccio joins the show at 6 p.m. Trade deadline is tomorrow. Ahead of that, the Eagles are adding edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins for a 2026 third-round pick. A number of seasons are ending today. 2 players with ACL injuries, Packers tight end Tucker Kraft and 49ers rookie edge Mykel Williams. And then Chargers tackle Joe Alt having season-ending ankle surgery. He picked up another high ankle sprain yesterday. He's having surgery to fix that. And then Week 9 is going to wrap tonight with Monday Night Football. The Cowboys do host the Arizona Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett will get the start at quarterback, and rookie defensive tackle Walter Nolan is being activated from the PUP list. He's going to make his debut tonight. Kickoff at 8:15. You can also listen to that game right here on WGR with coverage beginning at 7:30. And then college basketball got underway today. St. Bonaventure was in action early. They took down Bradley 69-63. And then later on in the afternoon, UB men host Southern Miss at 6:30. That game can be heard on our sister station, the Bet 1520. UB women also in action. They are at Marshall. That game will actually get going first at 6. And Niagara, they are at Duquesne. That game will tip off at 7 and can be heard on AM 1400. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Tackle with their first-round pick, Walter Nolan.
I saw Cole out there. I mean, making big plays. You could sense his speed, and he was popping some people out there. And that's again a journey of a young player who is taking steps in the right direction. So, and it's because of his preparation. You know, when you get more and more experience, like anything in life, you start to a little bit more understand what it's going to take, what the job description is, and he's going to continue to grow for us here.
Sean McDermott on Cole Bishop. Football Monday on WGR. Sabres have Utah in town for a game tomorrow night. Baseball is over. Were you ready for a full menu of college basketball men and women scores today? I was not.
Not exactly. It is November. I mean, I guess I should have been ready, but I've been seeing the games queued up in my app. I have the ESPN app, and I go to that often to just get a quick look at a box score or something. If I feel like on any given Sunday I didn't have a good feel for how a game went, I'll try to just go in there. Anyway, it lets you set up favorites. So there was a point in time where I thought, like, well, I work here. I want to know when everyone's playing. So men's and women's basketball at all the schools, it's a long list, and it's been there for a few days now. Like, I knew it was coming, but it still surprised me when I heard basketball scores today.
Yes. St. Bonaventure played at 11 this morning, and it wasn't the first game. There was a game at 9. They don't wait.
Eastern?
Yes.
Wow. That's no joke.
I guess it's our time here. We're going to all day.
I guess so.
Mike is next. Hello, Mike.
Yeah. So I was just seeing Deebo Samuel for the Commanders. That team is out of the playoff race completely, and they didn't give up much for him. I feel like everyone's talking about these big trades for Olave or Garrett Wilson or Jalen Waddle, while there's that's just a move you can make for a 4th or 5th round pick, or maybe pick up Justin Simmons or Christian Wilkins from free agency. I don't know. Your thoughts
on Deebo, right? That's what you're asking?
Mostly on Deebo.
Yeah, I wouldn't go near Wilkins. I just feel like how that ended in with the Raiders is just I'd be stunned if the Bills went that route. I mean, Deebo Samuel's been one of my favorite players to watch. I just don't know how much juice there is there. There's enough juice that I did notice. I did not watch this game closely last night because it was just so lopsided by the time even we got done with our post-game coverage. But at 28-7, he's running a kickback. Debo Samuel, and I just thought to myself, what are we doing here? Like, is that what we want? Like, it just does not seem like they're already like sort of scraping by at pass catchers to begin with, and I just thought it was weird that he'd be running a kickback down 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's part of his portfolio.
Yeah.
He makes sense to be traded. I just will say again, show me that the Bills are going to trade for a name wide receiver here after everything that's been said and done. It's not just, I'm not oblivious to like how the season is going for this. People can change their positions. But I think they probably think that they're doing fine with this. And, here's another game where you can kind of pick at it. Kincaid should play more or whatever else you want to do. It was not a game where wide receivers really popped at all. But they scored 28 points and beat Kansas City. And I just... You can always augment, and I think there is room for that possibility here. But I just continue to think that they probably don't think themselves that they have a problem. But we'll see.
I think I've said a few times, I think defensive line now, finding a way to replace the juice they're going to lose in Hoyt, who we got like 6.5 quarters of Michael Hoyt this year. And I felt his presence during every bit of it. I think with him being out, coupled with Oliver being out the week before, both of them long-term, Oliver maybe back in January, whatever. So a lot of football to be played. I think replacing that to try to keep the juice they have generated up front the last couple of weeks makes more sense than shopping for receiver. But I want to add one caveat to that, and it's, I asked Eric Wood about it. I brought it up myself. Is it load management with Kincaid because they're worried about his legs? He had the oblique. I mean, if he is their most dangerous guy and they're already spotting him in part because they want to make sure they can preserve him, I mean, how thin is the ice under your feet on that, right? Like, if he's unavailable, then... I mean, where am I? I mean, that could enhance their desire to just sort of cover themselves, make sure they've got another guy somewhere. So I don't know. Maybe I'm asking for too much. I might be asking for 2 moves.
That could also be Gabe Davis in the back.
Yeah, Gabe Davis, who started practicing last week meaningfully for the first time in a year and couldn't even make it through the week. That guy? Yeah, that sounds great.
Well, I mean... You're right. He's no Debo Samuel for durability, I guess.
I don't love that idea either, frankly. I want younger, more juice than I think Debo myself.
There's some overlap, but he's really been a unique player.
Yeah.
The Kincaid thing, it doesn't. You're not saying it does. It doesn't have to be any sort of load management issue there. It doesn't have to be. Maybe a little bit, but. They're winning these games again. Carolina, throw it out. I mean, they didn't even one of many Bills games the last 5 years where you just can't even use the data after at least the second quarter or something in the game. The game's a blowout. It's just I'm not sure the best way to put it. I don't see Kincaid as fundamental to who they are, who they want to be as an offense. I think he's somebody that moves in and is a complement to how they want to play, which is to his benefit, because you have to just be ready for a physical battle against the Bills. That's why Hawes plays more. That's why Knox plays a lot. I mean, Kincaid has always been, right? He's always been a victim of this. Not Hawes, because Hawes is a rookie, but with Knox. And so he's always capped, and the games are still the positive game script. You do have injury stuff, maybe. That was always there, too, kind of different times. Not the first time we've had that. I don't know. I think that he's probably playing about as much as they want. Maybe you get up to 50%. What's yesterday? 35. Next up is Mike. Hello.
Hi, guys. I was wondering what your thoughts on the Bills making a move for Calais Campbell. I know he's older. He still seems to be playing at a very high level. He's smart. And do you think the Cardinals would be willing to move him?
I don't have any idea if they would.
Or if the player would be of a mind, he chose to go back there. Not that he's a veteran guy that I'd be surprised if they moved him against his wishes. So I think I'd want him to know that he's on board. He was a player of interest to me in the offseason.
He's 39. They play tonight. I'm not sure they think of their season as dead yet, Arizona. Maybe tonight would turn that. He has a Pro Football Reference nickname. You're not going to get it.
Captain Campbell.
The mayor of Saxonville.
Oh, my God. That's from time.
Somebody thought of that.
That's from time with the Jaguars.
Yes, I would hope.
Yeah. Okay.
3 years with Jacksonville there in the middle of his career.
The mayor of Saxonville. I will pay you $100 in cash if Troy Aikman calls him the mayor of Saxonville tonight on Monday Night Football.
I'm excited to find out what happens. Do I have to watch and listen to the whole game now because of this possibility?
Well, I'm not going to. So I'll have to take somebody's word. I need video evidence.
Okay. That shouldn't be the hard part. It's getting him to say it.
Right, yeah.
Of course, you retire that nickname once you're not on Jacksonville anymore.
I would advise that, yeah.
Not that he's flaunting it, maybe, or probably not. Just somebody wrote it there on ProFootballReference.com. All right, interesting idea, Mike. He's flaunting it.
He's walking into the game tonight in a Cardinals-colored starter jacket, but it says Mayor of Saxonville. Mayor of and Saxonville along the bottom.
Guys, I'm not sure where Calais Campbell's allegiances really lie. I'll hang up and listen. Right. Wearing that jacket. 803-0550. Sal Capaccio joins at 6. Plenty of time for your calls before that. This is WGR. No.
That'll happen.
I want to get into a conversation. I can't be today by law because it's Football Monday about the Blue Jays, though.
Oh, come on. We got a few minutes. I mean, it's going to be gone by the time we get to it if we don't get to it today.
It's more personal than, just to talk about the game. I don't want to break down the game.
I see.
But it did hurt. I always say how it won't.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a team that I follow day to day all the time, only when they're good. Oh, my God. I was crushed. And it's just like the impossible way that they lost, especially 7, but even 6.
I thought Friday was one of the most stunning things I've ever seen in a sporting event. To have it be unfold the way it unfolded in the 9th inning there with runners on 2nd and 3rd and no outs, and like your mind is racing. Like, I could tie the game. Oh, I'm going to win the game here. And like 3 pitches later, it was over. What time's the train? Like, that was just jarring how quickly that fire got extinguished.
But then Saturday
on top of it.
3-0 lead, 1 out in the 9th ahead. The play at home, the 10th, the double, Guerrero's on 3rd. Like, just how many Clement to the wall? Could I just have like an inch here, an inch there, one of these 10 times? The line drive to Muncy. It was just cruel. And so, I'll get over it. It's not like I'm that big of a fan.
Yeah.
Just like such a cruel outcome for the Jays. Like, they were just so good and so close so many times. And I did say earlier, and I think this is kind of interesting, like yesterday on the postgame show, I guess, I'm not here to argue with the observation or the take. Like, yeah, I said I wasn't like that excited about the Bills win because I kind of, no offense to anybody, I kind of feel like if I were a fan in Charlotte or some other anywhere, just not Buffalo or Kansas City, say I'm sitting at an airport and a conversation sprouts up about how the Bills beat the Chiefs, for the 5th year in a row in the regular season. I'm kind of trying not to laugh, I think. If I'm not a Bills fan, I'm trying not to laugh. Like, just what? Why? Who would even know that if you're not so close to it? Better than losing, but I think the Blue Jays thing was in my head a little bit. Like, they had just had that season, and it just went up in smoke in the cruelest way. Right at the very end, in their own stadium. You can't have that in football. Like, you're not going to play the championship game at home.
Yeah.
But still, like, what an awful result after so many thrills. And I have to, we all kind of know, of course, the Bills and the Chiefs thing has been one way in the playoffs. This game helps you to avoid having to play them in the playoffs. Now they're at 4 losses, and maybe the seedings this year will be different.
And maybe it and if they do make it, it helps that the game it leans it being here rather than there.
Yeah. So that's good.
That's something. Yeah, I do. I just think we're all, to some degree, because like I'm not over the moon either. I said numerous times yesterday and again already today that yesterday does not provide us with the answers we're seeking. They're not available yet. So there is a certain amount of fatigue that I think we're all experiencing simultaneously that is, only going to allow us to get so high after a win. I think I disagree with you about the person in the airport. I think the person in the airport looks at this as one of the games of the year, and who won it matters to them, or should matter. Whereas we're so, I think, in a tunnel about their Januaries that, it makes me feel like we all need to touch grass a little bit more. I think it was a big win. Kansas City, for 3 weeks running, has felt like the best team in the league to me. And the Bills they manhandled them. They only won by 7, but they abused Mahomes like they never do. So I'm more impressed than maybe I'm even getting across because I'm so distracted by Hoyt and tomorrow and the big picture. I don't know, man. I was impressed with yesterday. I think that's a very good team, and the Bills were better than them kind of by a lot.
I agree with every word of that. I just don't care that much about it because it's still early, and seasons are not linear. Somebody called early, like, Josh Allen is back. Well, okay, I mean, he's great, and maybe it's just all upward from here, but it usually doesn't work like that. I mean, you'll have games where we'll probably go back to this game, be like, how could it have been that, and now it's this? Because that's every team.
Yeah.
How does Green Bay lose to Carolina? That's just how the league is. The important thing is to win. 803-0550. Back to your calls after sports. This is WGR.
McDermott finished up speaking with the media a little under an hour ago, gave a number of injury updates. On the good side of things, Daquan Jones, Josh Palmer, and Shaq Thompson all expected to practice this week in some capacity as the team does get ready to head down to Miami. And they'll also be taking it one day at a time with cornerback Taron Johnson. All four of them did miss yesterday's game against Kansas City. On the bad side of things, McDermott had this to say on rookie corner Dorian Strong, who was on IR with a neck injury.
I do have some more clarity. It's not good in terms of the reports and everything, so I don't want to get into where it may go, but it's not moving in the direction we would like it to at this point, but I'll stop there just out of respect.
Stay tuned. Sal Capaccio is going to join the show in about an hour at 6 o'clock for the latest on what we heard from the Bills today. The trade deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Ahead of that, the Eagles have been busy. They've already added somebody, edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins, for a 2026 third-round pick, and a number of big injuries across the league. Packers tight end Tucker Kraft and 49ers rookie edge Mykel Williams both out for the season with torn ACLs, and Chargers tackle Joe Alt is out for the season. He is having ankle surgery for his second high ankle sprain this year. And then Week 9 is going to wrap up tonight with Monday Night Football. Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals. Jacoby Brissett get the start at quarterback for Arizona, and rookie D tackle Walter Nolan being activated off of the PUP list. He is going to make his debut for Arizona. Kickoff at 8:15, and you can listen to that game right here on WGR starting at 7:30. And then getting underway earlier this morning, college basketball. St. Bonaventure was part of that early run at around 11 in the morning. They took on Bradley, and they got the win, 69-63. And then coming up later on this afternoon, UB men host Southern Miss at 6:30. That game's going to be on our sister station, the Bet 1520. UB women will also be in action. They're at Marshall. That game will get going in about an hour at 6. And Niagara's at Duquesne at 7. That game can be heard over on AM 1400. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Early on in the game, you know when you're slotted or the ball's coming out of your hand as good as you really want it. I've been working really hard over the last couple weeks trying to get back into that feeling.
Here's the snap, and it is a blitz. Allen back to pass, looking down the right sideline for Kincaid, complete, and he walks into the end zone for a 23-yard touchdown reception.
It's Mike Schopp.
I felt Cole out there making big plays. You could sense his speed. He was popping some people out there.
Looking for a Kelsey, and he's labeled as the ball goes flying behind him. Oh, Cole Bishop.
And the Bulldog.
It was cool seeing Cole fly around, man. Like, it's just so fun out there playing with those guys like Cole and everybody else on defense, man. It's just fun.
Pressure coming. Mahomes heaves it down the field, looking for Worthy. It's picked off by Maxwell Hairston at the Buffalo 32-yard line.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Football Monday continues on WGR. Thanks for listening. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Football Monday is brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. Well, it was an important win in more ways than one, perhaps. What it does to the standings for both teams, and then also what it might mean that the Bills had this kind of performance against the Chiefs up front, making Mahomes' life tough, which has been probably the single biggest problem they've had in the playoff meetings, not being able to do that. So if you want, I guess, well, I mean, would you assume that it would happen again the next time? If there is a next time, I would not.
No, I would assume no such thing. I would sooner assume that Kansas City comes up with a pivot of some kind that hopefully the Bills are more prepared for than they were last year when Kansas City pivoted to this quick-hitting passing game in the AFC title game, and the Bills just seemed to have no real answer for it. Hopefully they run out of pivots one of these years. Or the Bills are just more ready for whatever the pivot is. But, yeah, I mean, for all the pushing back I do about, it's the defense, it's the defense, it's the defense. I'm always the one over here raising my hand in these, despite the ghastly numbers. Like, I've got the ball at the end of these games in the playoffs. Come on. I go win it. Of course they got their points. Sure, they're in the lead. They're Kansas City. I've wanted to see better from the defense. I don't mean to just be excusing it or anything, but I think the Bills have had chances to win the games and haven't come through on offense. Set that aside. They did a job on the Chiefs yesterday. Yes, the line, they didn't have their left tackle, and there were other issues, and even as the game went on, they were shuffling guys in and out, so like that can be challenging for sure. But they had their full complement of guys out there to catch passes. And yes, they made some plays. I mean, you aren't going to just completely shut that team down, I don't think. Even the best efforts, maybe. The Eagles in the Super Bowl, okay, whatever. They just made plays all over the field. I mean, up front was dominant. Bishop on the back end, Hairston, they just got contributions. And I think it was just a tremendous job. Coaching, preparation, play calling. Like, they just were on it yesterday. And the Chiefs were reduced to, really, Mahomes was reduced to buying time and hoping something broke free. And, it did a few times. Again, like they made some plays. To me, you shouldn't be expecting to completely shut that down. But for all the scrutiny we give the Bills' passing offense, yesterday the Chiefs' passing offense looked like the Bills' passing offense has looked often, even despite having their full complement of guys. It was drop back, not seeing it, run around, okay, something sprang free, yay, we gained some yards. Or it was out of bounds, or it was he's hit. Like, they dominated that team. I was going to say it. They did. Two touchdown drives on 10 possessions, completion percentage 44%, hit them 15 or 14 times. I mean, they just really had a day on defense. For all the heat McDermott gets and rightly so, they get bum rushed in the playoffs by that team. Even in these wins they've had against them, I don't recall them making the Chiefs look that ordinary, especially on the heater they were coming in on. I thought they looked like the Chiefs of old. Potent offense, explosive, speed that you can't really reckon with. And there's Maxwell Hairston running stride for stride down the sideline with Xavier Worthy. That's an element the Bills have not had. So, sure, there were busts and there were misses and whatever, but, man, that was as good as I think you could have hoped for on defense against that quarterback and that coach. They did a great job.
Really, the second half, too, it's just one score, Kansas City, to start the fourth quarter, a drive that had started in the third. But end of the first half, 21-10, and the Chiefs have first down at the 1. Hunt for 0. It serves them right. The Chiefs have done so much winning, and we have our own Bills hang-ups, and they've done about as much winning, at least regular season. But some of these times, just like, can you just quit it with this? If I'm a Chiefs fan, can you just quit it with Kareem Hunt? At the deadline, can I get Breece Hall in here maybe and just sort of do something kind of cool? He did score in the game, Hunt, but he gets stuffed there, and then it's 2 incomplete passes. They take the points. It's 19 yards. And I think that's okay because the math isn't the same when it's the end of the half and you don't have there's no advantage to be gained in having the Bills, in this case, have to start from their 1 if you don't score. It's going to be halftime. So 21-13, but then Kansas City comes out, third quarter, 3 and out. Get the ball again, the Hoyt sack to close that drive off, still 21-13. Bills score a touchdown. It's really their game from their end, 28-13 to end the third quarter, and that's pretty much it. They do try a field goal, the Bills. I was curious. With 27 seconds to go, up 7. McDermott was asked about it in postgame, and he said it was either that or go for it.
Right, he was not going to punt.
I mean, punting is probably the play.
Really?
Yes. I mean, maybe they're so spooked by 13 seconds, just, let's get a bigger lead. 52 yards. Here's Kansas City now at their 42. 1 play from a Hail Mary shot. Yes, I did watch that game in the 21 playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think, you could even, they could fair catch it, but you got to think like the 10-yard line is pretty doable. A normal result there. You run 6 or 7 seconds. I thought that was interesting. But worked out.
Yeah, it really did ratchet up the tension when that ball hit the goalpost.
Suddenly.
Like really, like, come on. Now I got to sweat this, and we had to sweat it. And there was a jump ball to Thornton in the end zone. Bishop out-jumped Tyquan Thornton, I think. But he made the play from behind him. I don't know if Thornton jumped his full, his full reach or not, but
he timed that well.
Hell of a job by Bishop. What a game he had. I don't want to overlook. I'm still pretty scared of Poyer being on the field, but they're making it work. And I'll listen to that. Really, the respectable thing about signing Poyer back in the first place to me was for Bishop's development. Right? If you want to have someone here to sort of guide him and show him, Poyer's as good as anybody you could get. You could have Hyde for this. Hyde did this last year for them. He was back, never played, but he was around. Now it's Poyer. He's on the field, but they're making it work. They're trading off series to an extent. Poyer's playing a little bit more than Hancock, but Bishop maybe is getting the benefit of Poyer, not just being on the field with him, but being around him, playing with him, meetings, all of it. Just maybe it's a part of the stew that is bringing Bishop to the forefront, because he had a monster game yesterday. The hit on Kelsey in the end zone on that series we're just talking about. Well, Kelsey's not catching that ball anyway, but just a big hard hit on an old guy. Like go do it.
Oh, now you put it that way.
Yeah.
It seems almost rude, but yes. 803-0550 for your calls. Let's go to CJ next. Hello.
Hey, gentlemen. I haven't really been listening today, but I don't know if anybody talked about it. But the best part of the win is the Chiefs go to the third place in their division. And I think that's lost in the conversation of, oh, yay, the Bills beat the Chiefs again. This is not like any other year. And Patrick Mahomes even said it himself after the post game, speaking on, after some point you keep losing. The losing, you're not going to learn anything from losing anymore. You have to start winning. And I don't know about the next 3 games that they play, but I'm crossing my fingers the Colts and the Broncos can do us a favor, or in the playoffs we don't see the Chiefs. That'd be the best thing, because I can't do another loss to the Chiefs at all. I'd rather just not see them.
Your number one thing is, and I'm sure you know, your number one thing is still the Patriots, because the Patriots have control of it. They have the control over, a long way to go, but whether you're home or away. And that dictates the odds pretty significantly toward whether you'll play the Chiefs. You could kind of give the way Joe Ostrowski was talking to us on Thursday, which was more of a, guys, come on, about Kansas City and Buffalo. Of course, just don't worry about it. He laughed at the possibility of the Chiefs missing the playoffs. So, okay, maybe they're just too good to do that. You still have to get over New England. And this could be like a week where if they don't, it will just sort of get tense. I don't know. Still a lot left. New England 7-2, Buffalo 6-2. Bills at Dolphins, 9.5-point favorite. Come on. It'd be shocking if they lost to the Dolphins. The Patriots at Tampa.
I'm just remembering now as the caller just was talking the way he's talking. Late in the week, I think I got to, it's not the top reason I want to see the Bills beat the Chiefs, but to me an added benefit is in a few weeks when they play the Colts, if I still need the Colts to lose a game, and I'll bet I will, that clears the decks, at least for us emotionally, to, I think, pull for Kansas City. Like if I'm trying to catch the Chiefs, trying to catch the Colts, they don't have a tough schedule. This is a hard game. And if the Chiefs had gotten this one on the Bills, and I'm thinking about even wild card tiebreakers with them down the road, if neither of us can catch the division leaders or whatever, I'm all tangled up going into that game. Now I'm just, okay, I think, it's a few weeks off. We'll see what changes between now and then. But if the Colts hold serve up to that game, I think I'll be. It doesn't have to matter. I'm just saying it clears the way for the Chiefs to do you a favor and have it not hurt as much, because I still have the head-to-head on them, and I'm ahead of them, and I'm chasing the one, and I might need them to knock Indianapolis off because somebody's got to. And they just sort of keep getting by. Thank you, Pittsburgh, yesterday. Managed to do it. Took the ball away 6 times. Holy cow. So I like that little piece from yesterday, too.
I mean, Denver is probably about as relevant as Indianapolis is, and that's the Chiefs' next game. Bye week this week, then at Denver. So you can already ask yourself that same question about that game.
Right.
Like, Denver is 2 games ahead of Kansas City. They have not met yet. They meet again in week 17 after week 11. So if Denver were to beat, they play the Raiders Thursday night. They're a big favorite. If they beat the Raiders, they'll be 8-2, 2.5 games up for their next meeting, and they'll have the half bye there, having played on Thursday. That's a road game at the Raiders, but a home game with the Chiefs. No, they're both home games, actually. Never mind. Pretty good chance that's 8-2 Denver versus 5-4 Kansas City. Who do you like? The Broncos get a 3.5 game lead on the Chiefs with a win head-to-head. The Chiefs, I mean, they're almost buried for first place. Almost buried. And then they play the Colts after that. So that's... What is this to say?
Yeah, it's the same scenario. I think the win over the Chiefs head-to-head, having them now at 5-4, I think I'll want the Chiefs to beat the Broncos there.
Think about that one.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. I'll be thinking the same thing probably.
Which, if you don't get that, and Denver is 9-2 after week 11, having beaten Kansas City after beating the Raiders, then thereby at Washington, what's that? At Vegas, Green Bay, at home to Jacksonville, at Kansas City, home to the Chargers. Denver's looking at like 12 wins.
Yeah, they're in great shape.
Would Denver take a split with the Chiefs? Yes. I think yes.
Yeah.
Because they've already got a 2-game lead.
Right.
Just want to push with them. That's interesting. I decided yesterday who Bo Nix is, by the way.
All right.
Flutie. It's that Flutie season, Denver. Defense is great.
Yeah.
Pulling out wins. Yesterday, they're 15-all with Houston late, and he runs for 40 yards on a play to set up the winning field goal. Like they're kind of living a church. They and the Patriots are similar in this.
Yeah.
Which is so funny that the Bills and Chiefs are running their races, and each division has somebody else that's kind of like they may be sort of good, but they have the lead. And this is the Patriots got away with it yesterday. Missed extra point.
Yeah. The Broncos really got away with it. I mean, they knocked Stroud out of the game, so it's Davis Mills for Houston, and they had a game-winning drive opportunity really late. I don't remember the exact time. I could look up the
Houston
play-by-play. Denver did. Oh. They gave the ball to Houston. They had to punt it away. And then Houston got it back and punted it back, and then Denver he made that run. But they weren't going to get there. I mean, if Houston has anything at all, they could have driven to a field goal, but it was Davis Mills.
Denver has played 8 games. Oh, this happened to me earlier with this site. Denver's played 8 games. 5 of them, 271 total yards or fewer.
I've got them at 9. I got them at 7-2, so I don't know where you're getting 8 games from.
Oh, I'm looking at Houston. Never mind. Hey, guess what? Here's some interesting statistics about Houston. They've played 8 games, and 5 of them 200. Okay, that makes sense. I bet Denver doesn't have that. Here's Ray next. Hello.
Hi, guys. Mike, like you, I like to play around with scenarios. First of all, I did not think the Bills were going to win yesterday, so I'm glad I didn't bet. Not that I would have, and that I was wrong. But, I like to think about realistic things. I'm going to pose a question. Would you rather win the division as the 2 seed and play the Chiefs in the first round? Or would you rather be the 5th seed and play Pittsburgh and go that route, knowing that Kansas City can run through it and they'd have to come to our place in the championship round. And the reason why I say this, I just think it's fun. It's realistic. You know, I've been thinking this way for a couple of weeks, and the stats are kind of showing the standings. And I got to tell you, I want to protect our heritage and our identity of 4 straight Super Bowls. And if yesterday's win, you know, kind of knocks them out of that as we look back 2-3 months from now, I don't want Kansas City equaling our proud tradition of 4 straight Super Bowls as the only team. I know that means nothing maybe to current players, but it means something to me as a fan. And, you know, losses or not, we're the only ones that have done it, and I'm proud of that.
Okay. I'd rather be the 2 than the 5, no matter what. It could be Baltimore, too. I'd rather be the 2 than the 5, no matter what. 2 home games for sure. The 1 is still the goal. I'd rather be the 2 than the 5. You're the 5, you might get Kansas City anyway, like in the next round.
Right, yeah.
That's easy for me. Yeah, Denver does not. Denver has 3 games out of 9 where they have 271 yards or fewer. That's what they have.
Okay.
But, I mean, no Surtain. You're right, they take Stroud out, and they didn't roll, but they got through it.
Right.
That's one of the hardest games they have left. They have 2 with the Chiefs, and then Green Bay. Well, I guess the Chargers, too. The Chargers lost their tackle again, Alt, for the season. So both their starting tackles, strength of the team,
right,
are both out for the year. I don't know what to do with them, except probably do what we always do with them. Not take it too seriously.
Right.
Their
yeah.
season.
It did. I'm not exactly. I don't have this locked down, but it felt like they started the year and were what a cool story. Look at the Chargers. Then Alt went out. They'd already lost the other guy, Slater, in the summer, right? So Alt goes out, and they are on the rocks. He comes back. It's stabilized, and they're winning again, and now he's out. So I don't know if that tracks, they could be in real trouble there.
They also said today Omarion Hampton, their rookie running back, will not be back before week 12. So he was doing all right, and now they have Kamani Vidal in the backfield, and he had maybe 30 yards yesterday. Tennessee had a look at an upset because they had 2 defense special teams touchdowns, and they still ended up losing by a touchdown. 803-0550 for your calls. What do you do with yesterday's Bills win over Kansas City? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, Football Monday on WGR.
It's Bulldog here for Dash's Markets this football season. Make sure you're grilling.
Coach Sean McDermott spoke with the media today. We got a few injury updates following yesterday's win over Kansas City. The good news, Daquan Jones, Josh Palmer, and Shaq Thompson are all going to be practicing to some capacity this week. And then cornerback Teron Johnson, they're going to take it day by day with him. All four of them did not play yesterday against KC. Bad news side of things, McDermott did have this to say on rookie corner Dorian Strong, who is on IR with a neck injury.
I do have some more clarity. It's not good in terms of the reports and everything, so I don't want to get into where it may go, but it's not moving in the direction we would like it to at this point, but I'll stop there just out of respect.
Stay tuned. We'll get more on what was said today by all of the coaches, including Bobby Babich and Joe Brady, when Sal Capaccio joins the show in about a half hour at 6. Trade deadline is tomorrow in the NFL at 4 p.m. The Eagles officially did make a move today. The team did announce that they have traded for Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins for a 2026 third. And then Week 9 is going to wrap up tonight with Monday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys do host the Arizona Cardinals. And for the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett gets to start at quarterback, and rookie defensive tackle Walter Nolan, activated off of PUP. He is going to make his season debut tonight. Kickoff at 8:15, and you can also listen to the game right here on WGR starting at 7:30. And then coming up here also in about a half hour, we'll get the afternoon slate of college basketball games going, with today being opening day. UB women will be first up at Marshall. They'll tip off at 6. UB men host Southern Miss at 6:30. That game is over on our sister station, the Bet 1520, and Niagara. They are at Duquesne at 7. That game can be heard on AM 1400. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
We wanted to keep him in that pocket. And this year, he's been scrambling more than he has in the past 4 to 6 years or something like that. And he's under duress. And I think that whenever we can add that pressure and keep him in the pocket as well, because you got to be aggressive while being disciplined, because if you rush too high, he leaks out. If you rush too low, he leaks out. So I think the guys did a really good job of just being really disciplined today and just doing their 111.
AJ Epinesa, the Bills beat the Chiefs again. 28-21, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Yeah, 803-0550 for your calls. Sal at 6. One team, we just sort of backed up and looked at the AFC playoff picture and schedules and some things. No mention of Cincinnati, which, okay, 3-6 now, but could have been 5-4 pretty easily with these two games at home against the Jets and Bears. They were down pretty late yesterday, but then took the lead after an onside kick and went ahead.
And they were up 14 on the Jets in the fourth quarter last week and managed to blow that.
They scored 80 points in the two games and went 0-2 at home. The Bears and the Bengals yesterday combined for 1,071 yards and 56 first downs in a regulation game. Did not go to overtime. 47-42 Bears. So Cincinnati would be kind of a fun topic at 5-4.
But at 3-6, they feel kind of dead.
3-6.
Why bother? Burrow's coming back. Whatever. The Bills are still going to have to deal with them, right? When is that? That's early December?
Yes, week 14.
Okay.
This next week is week 10.
And who knows? Maybe Burrow is back by then. I don't know. Offense is not a problem. Flacco it's 3 weeks in a row that he has lit it up.
Well, the Bengals, with or without Burrow, and won't be with for a while, are going to be relevant in all this. Bye week this week, then it's at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is in first place. Won yesterday. That's a good win. Then New England goes to Cincinnati. Then the Bengals go to Baltimore. That's on Thanksgiving night. And then they come here. And then they play Baltimore again.
All right.
So they'll have a role in certainly that division, if not ours.
The whole conference, yeah.
But they do play the Patriots and the Bills here in the next 5 weeks. 803-0550. How important was yesterday's win? We've been kind of back and forth on that. I wouldn't say it wasn't important. I'm having a tougher time than Bulldog is enjoying it, I think, because I can't stop being distracted by how these teams' seasons have ended. in recent years. And yesterday was great to see and great on, in terms of the standings. Of course, it doesn't mean that the Bills will be able to repeat that if they play again. But
it also
signs.
does not mean that they are prohibited from repeating that just because they haven't been able to do it any of the 4 times they've beaten Kansas City in the regular season. These are not hard and fast rules. You can beat a team twice in the same season.
Yes.
Even a great team like Kansas City. Maybe it is more difficult. They'll have a pivot, something different. Maybe it'll be something the Bills don't see coming like it seemed last year was. Although, they did lose Benford early in that game last year, and I'm sure that impacted everything they were trying to do defending Kansas City, as it turned out.
Yep, that's right. Ron is next. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening. The one big thing about yesterday's win was not that just being KC, which is always fun, and it was how the game was approaching, where the first 2-3 games of the season, we were thinking, okay, well, yeah, we'll beat KC because they're not that good anymore. But the last 3 weeks, KC seemed to be showing like they were better than they've been maybe in 3 seasons offensively. And I think what it proved was, yeah, but they were playing the Raiders and some other teams, but we knocked them back down where we weren't playing great football. Even against Carolina, we won big, but we still had questions like, I don't know, it didn't feel right. So I think most people thought we were going to lose yesterday, and maybe badly. And just Casey's back. They got all their players back. They got them all back. Other than a few big plays, we really shut them down. And, I don't remember ever getting to Mahomes as the way we did yesterday. A couple of sacks, hurting them a lot. Knocking them down when I was waiting for flags on some of that. So I don't know.
I thought they really, just me now, there were a couple things that really, I think, went the Bills' way in that department. The pass that he got called for, I don't remember what the result ended up being if they got out of the hole, but there was a pass where he got called for grounding. There was a long conference about it. Reed wanted to challenge it, but I think it was explained to him that that's not challengeable. So the officials decided that ball was tipped by Hoyt, I think, on that play, and it went for a loss. And again, I don't remember if they dug out of it, but that felt like a big break at the time because that should not have been a grounding penalty. In part, it was because the ball didn't get to the line of scrimmage, and it being deflected could have been an explanation for why it didn't. So there was that. The play where Epinesa annihilates him on the sideline, I'm really surprised that was not a roughing the passer penalty. Not only the hit wasn't late, but it's at the sideline, and I thought Epinesa landed on him. And you're not supposed to do that. Now, what I don't know, I never looked if that's different in the pocket versus out of the pocket. But like the full weight landing on the guy in the pocket, like that's a flag. And Epinesa lands right on him, but on the sideline. So again, if that's different, then, still, I thought that could have been an easy flag.
The timing of the grounding penalty was pretty big. 6:22 left in the third. Bills up 8. Kansas City nearing midfield. Then the next play is a sack, and then it's a punt.
Okay.
So that call could have been important.
Yeah.
Change things
That
around.
was a big break. And look, this is my opinion on the Epinesa play. I'm obviously grateful they didn't flag it, but boy, I thought they caught a break there myself.
Mm-hmm. Here's Phil next. Hi, Phil.
Hey, thanks, guys. I think the thing that I took away the most is that the offense got back on track. Josh got back on track. He was off target the week before, and he got back on track without really having to be Superman and putting on the cape. And that was really encouraging, especially against a defense that historically has been really good and has been playing well lately. And so that was really positive. I didn't really get a whole lot more out of it than that, and it's just glad to see that he got back on track, and they got back on track, and we're scoring points against this team. And that was really encouraging.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Seeing him deliver. Now, there was, of course, your fair share of the at the line of scrimmage stuff, which I guess, is fine as long as it works, right? When it doesn't and you end up punting, it feels like your offense is just impotent. But, they got enough stuff downfield. I mean, the touchdown to Kincaid, the long one to Kincaid, which is more of a run than a catch, but still it's a downfield throw. The pass to Elijah Moore was big. Like they sprang some stuff yesterday down the field that had been really lacking in their passing game for a few weeks, really.
10 different receivers yesterday, including running backs.
Cook had a big catch there. That was, to help them try to ice it. They didn't, they had to withstand Hail Mary, so it's not like they really actually iced it, right? I mean, they missed the field goal, but it was a big, that at least got them to, they got to burn timeouts now and left them with, it was big. I mean, they ran a lot of clock after that.
Roland is next. Hi, Roland.
Hi, guys. Thank you. I was very pleased with the game, and I thought we did lots of really great things. But what took the edge off of it with me, and what makes me feel kind of like you, Schopp, is that it's just another win. We got to win out, so we can't pump ourselves up and think that this was really great and we're all back and everything. If we can't control what New England does, and so we have that game in New England, and we got Indianapolis and these other people. We got to win out, and so we did. But it's like now on to the next one. We've got an easy schedule. So does a bunch of other teams.
Yep.
So it was the thought in the back of my mind that we really had to win this. And despite some of our efforts, it seemed like we ended up making it kind of close, which was sort of like disconcerting. But we did win. But I'm just thinking that we just have to win out now, and this was where it has to start. So I'm glad we got it done.
Well, win out is probably strong, but you know, because 15-2. I mean, of course that'd be great, but I'd be surprised if everybody involved here doesn't lose a couple of more games. So you just got to find a way to get ahead of those teams. And yesterday keeps you a half game back of the teams that all have the one more win than you. Nobody's got fewer losses than you. And so, some of these teams not had their buys yet. They'll have them. And hopefully I can keep holding serve and stay on pace with them. But I don't think anyone's going 15-2.
There are 9 2-loss teams in the NFL. Nobody at 0 or 1. Seattle is 1.
Right, five of them in the NFC, 4 over on the Bills side, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Bills would be the betting favorite to get the 1, I bet, at this point.
I don't even know where to go. I don't ever – I can't bet that.
Where would you find that?
Yeah, I don't even know where to find that, but I would bet that that's right. I would bet that they're the betting favorite to finish as the 1.
Oh, then you're all set. You know just what to do.
I'm all good.
Field Yates of ESPN reports the Bills have restructured Taron Johnson's contract, creating an extra $1.75 million in salary cap space.
Trades incoming.
Maybe that's what that is. Maybe that's what that is. Quick break. We'll talk some more after that. Sal joins us at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Welcome back. Football Monday. Sal Capaccio at 6 or a couple of minutes after. Tomorrow, Ross Tucker. And we'll have the Sabres tomorrow night home to Utah. Frank, the story is Utah.
J.J. Peterka tribute video.
Gotta be. That's an easy one.
Yeah. Revenge game.
Revenge game for a few guys.
Right. Kesselring and Doan.
Doan. Interesting, controversial moment earlier today at home. So I just remembered this a minute ago and was excited. There's leftover pizza at home.
Okay.
This is what happens when my wife goes out of town. There's lots of pizza, and I usually buy too much of it so that it lasts for like 3 days.
Preach.
I mean, who hasn't done that? So
I do this all the time.
I'm sitting at the dining room table today. My wife comes for the veggie one. Wouldn't you know it? She rips the slice off from the 2 or 3 that are left and stumbles as she steps toward the kitchen and has to catch the pizza. Which she does successfully. She catches it, completed the catch.
Were any ingredients harmed in the process?
Nothing hit the floor.
All right.
Big break.
That's a really good job.
I asked her, if that hits the floor, do you eat it? And she says, no. And I said, well, you're just saying that because there's more. Like there's 3 veggie pieces left.
Yep.
You just grab another one. She says, absolutely not. If it's the last piece, I don't eat it. It's on the floor. I look at life differently.
Yeah, I would just dust it off and heat it up.
Dust it
and
off.
hope that the heat, I almost always reheat. I don't just eat like cold out of the fridge or if it's been sitting out. I'll reheat. It's going to kill the germs from the floor. Put it in the oven. Get that cheese bubbling again, and you're all good to go.
She was on her way to the microwave.
Okay. Well,
which,
same concept.
I could have used the microwave then. I could have said, Bulldog says you're just killing the germs anyway by nuking it.
Right.
So what are you worried about?
Because he knows. He used to work in restaurants.
Imagine the sadness. The last piece, and you drop it.
Yeah.
Man, that hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts.
I'm not a fan of microwaving the pizza, though. It's soggy.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a little soggy.
That's true.
I like to get it. I like to crisp it up a little bit.
That's fine.
I'm an oven. We got one of those the fan convection thing. You just blast it with that for like a minute when it's just about done, and it's just really nice.
Good for you, man. Living well.
Oh,
here's Matt with us. Matt, go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great.
Couple things. One, I think 2 things I learned is one, the Bills fans and to some degree media are too week to week involved with the Bills because. We're looking at them they have all these problems on offense. Well, they're the number 1 offense in the NFL right now. So, obviously there's a lot of other teams that must have a lot of problems if that's true. And number 2 is that I think the defense after McDermott took over calling in the second half of the Falcons game has been night and day difference from Babbage. I think the Falcons rolled up 350 yards on us in the first half, and in the second half, McDermott took over and they got 50 yards or something. And ever since then, they've looked, I don't want to say amazing, but pretty freaking good.
Oh, yeah. That's how it seems. Okay, good point.
By what metric are they the number 1 offense? I mean, the Colts and Patriots have played one more game than them. The Colts have 60 more points than them, 55 more points than them already.
I like yards per play. They're 3rd.
Okay.
It'd be something per game. I don't know.
Their offense is really good. I'm balking at number 1, but I
just about.
Yeah.
Yards per play 3rd. Indianapolis and Seattle are 1-2. Total yards 7th. 1 fewer game than everybody in the top 6. They might be 1st in yards per game.
Yeah. All right.
Because of that.
Good.
Tonight, Arizona at Dallas. Look for more yards.
Boy, Darnold is doing the thing again he did last year.
Amazing.
Who looks better than him? Holy cow.
I left here last night when we wrapped. It was 14-0. And, I mean, how quick was it to 28 after that? Touchdown, turnover, touchdown.
Right.
Back up tight ends Arroyo and Burner.
Right, 2 of those touchdowns were like within 11 seconds of one another.
Yeah,
I think.
that's it.
Like, it was just same. I wasn't here. I was in my attic. I went downstairs, reheated some food, and sat down and like, oh, this game's over. Great.
I know. I was almost depressed, and I was a little bit tired in the third quarter, and I had the thought, you don't have to watch the rest of this game.
When we work these 4:25 games and we get done at 9 or 9:15 or whatever we wrapped last night, I like to have, because if it's a 1 o'clock game, I'm going to see the back half of the 4 o'clock window, and then the night game. I like to have the game to sit with for an hour or so after we get done. But it just was. It's just like it wasn't not that compelling at all.
The only thing I was glad that I stayed up for, in a sense, was the Daniels injury. I wasn't glad to see it, but I was at least there for it.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Sal after sports. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog Football Monday on WGR. When disaster strikes, turn to the team that's always on your side. Paul Davis
Bit of an injury update from Bills head coach Sean McDermott as the Bills now do turn their attention to Miami as they'll be going down to South Florida this Sunday for a 1 p.m. kickoff. Daquan Jones, Josh Palmer, and Shaq Thompson all expected to practice in some capacity this week. And then cornerback Taron Johnson, the team is going to be taking it one day at a time. All four of them did not play yesterday against Kansas City. And then on the bad side of things with the updates, McDermott had this to say on rookie cornerback Dorian Strong, who is on IR with a neck injury.
I do have some more clarity. It's not good in terms of the reports and everything, so I don't want to get into where it may go, but it's not moving in the direction we would like it to at this point, but I'll stop there just out of respect.
We'll get more on what was said today in just a few minutes as Sal Capaccio will join the show next. Trade deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. in the NFL. The Eagles did officially make a move today. The team did announce they are adding edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins for a 2026 third-round pick. And Week 9 is going to wrap tonight with Monday Night Football. Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals. And for Arizona tonight, Jacoby Brissett gets to start at quarterback. And rookie defensive tackle Walter Nolan was activated off of the PUP list, and he is going to make his season debut tonight. Kickoff at 8:15, and you can listen to that game right here on WGR beginning at 7:30. And then in college basketball, St. Bonaventure got underway earlier this morning. They took down Bradley 69-63, and now games beginning now in the late afternoon schedule. UB women at Marshall. That game is just now getting underway. UB men host Southern Miss at 6:30. That game is going to be on our sister station, the Bet 1520. And in about an hour, Niagara's at Duquesne, 7 o'clock tip. That game can be heard over on AM 1400. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
All right, Bills at 6-2 after an impressive, maybe that puts it mildly, 28-21 win yesterday over the Chiefs. Sal Capaccio with us now on the West Her Hotline. Impressive, Sal, for you. Does that word do it justice?
Sure. I thought it was impressive. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second.
All right, we're here.
With no kids. Sorry, I just had my car on the radio there when I got in for a second. So, yes, impressive was very good. Yeah, I know. I'm getting the feedback. It's not I was listening to football. But it is impressive. I thought that the way that they played the game, both offensively and defensively, was impressive. And I thought that the way that they played offense overall was impressive because of their two-dimensional approach, Sean McDermott likes to say, right? I mean, complementary football, two-dimensional offense. This is what you mean and what he means when he talks about it. I mean, you look at overall how they played this game. This was the Bills were in control the entire game, and that, to me, that was like I never felt they weren't. To me, that was the most impressive part.
Yeah, I mean, it got tense at the end, Hail Marys and whatever, field goal, doink. But yeah, I mean, I can't recall them. There's a game where they blow out the Chiefs maybe after the first AFC Championship loss, where they kind of really, handled the Chiefs, pretty comfortably. Defensively, Mahomes was reduced to really running around trying to just create out of structure because they really did a great job pressuring him and maybe also giving him a lot of different looks and just really a great job and a lot of breakthrough performances, I think, headlined by Cole Bishop. Sal, I mean, he just was a presence out there, and that's sorely needed. I mean, that defense has had the luxury, we've talked about it for a few years running, of the comfort of those two safeties, and for Bishop to show up and have a game like that really tells you maybe what we've been missing between Hyde and Poyer's prime and now.
No doubt about it. The athleticism that he brings was already on display. We saw that against New Orleans. What he needed to do was be more comfortable and not, make mistakes because he didn't understand maybe where he should line up somewhere or because he's reading something wrong. And the way that happens is with reps. And it's funny because we've been hearing that, and the coaches would say that. He needs reps. He needs reps. It's why he played a lot late in the preseason. He needed more reps. He had to be on the field. He is a great example of the fact that development is not linear. Not every person has the same development. And the fact that he plays a certain position that requires so much of it in this particular system, I mean, I think that now you're seeing why it was so important for him to be on the field and unfortunately have to take some of the lumps he did. I mean, just a month ago, Bills fans wanted this guy gone, calling him a bust, right? I mean, it's just not the case. We can't make sweeping judgments about guys after their first year. But I think overall with the play, you're right about that. And guys, I got to tell you, Jordan Poyer next to him has been a really, really big difference for him. And the fact that Jordan Poyer has come in here and embraced his role as a mentor and a guy that, as Bobby Babbitt said today, he's more been like a relief pitcher, right? He's not the guy getting the limelight and getting the ball. He's a guy that's got to go in spot duty. And, yeah, he's starting. But I think that just speaks volumes about Jordan Poyer, but it's really, really helped Cole Bishop.
Spencer Brown would agree with your point about snap judgments or early conclusions on young Bills players.
Sure.
So defensively now, Sal, we've got the trade deadline tomorrow. There's a report that they've freed up $1.75 million in cap space by restructuring Taron Johnson's deal. You've got the Hoyt injury, and that's bad. With Oliver already out, and now this player who was really flashing. When you think about the deadline, how much urgency is there, and where is it on this defense?
First of all, let me say the loss of Michael Hoyt is massive. As the conductor of the Michael Hoyt's going to change this defense train that I had been on with you guys and others, I mean, it was coming into fruition, even way more so than I thought. I mean, I had said, going back a while, man, this guy's going to give the Bills options. I knew what they were doing with him in preseason and camp when, I mean, like, we're moving him around and how really effective that was and what I saw from him. And I'm like, man, they're going to really have a plan for him, and it's going to really be a benefit. And, boy, and it just doubles down with the loss of Ed Oliver. And to get to your point, Mike, now they just don't have that interior pass rusher is what they miss and what they're going to be missing. I think that they have guys who are capable on the roster, but not to the level of Michael Hoyt. And the number one guy would be Javon Solomon. I mean, Javon Solomon played that role. He played that role before Michael Hoyt went out. He played that role yesterday after Michael Hoyt came in. The Bills will still have to piece it together with guys, and that's the number one guy you're going to look at. But sure, could they go out and try and find somebody? I just don't know. It's got, like, if you're going to get somebody, I'm not of the thought of you need a defensive end. Where is he going to play? If you're going to, I mean, you have defensive ends. You have Joey Bosa and Greg Rousseau and A.J. Epinesa. To me, you don't need a defensive end. What you need is somebody who is an interior pass rusher, because that's what they're going to miss. And I don't know where you get one like that and what it's going to cost you. Otherwise, I would say I still think wide receiver, to me, is the number one priority. I still think you have to get, even yesterday, guys, like, I mean, yeah, you had a couple of throws like Elijah Moore and Khalil Shakir made a couple of plays, but really it was the tight ends. There really wasn't the passing downfield that you still want to see, and they're going to get Joshua Palmer back at some point here soon. But I just don't think that's enough from what I've seen.
Yeah, boy, I feel like the Hoyt injury coupled with Oliver sort of pushes defensive tackle / pass rusher above receiver for me. I don't know if asking for two moves is getting too greedy, but you make a good point about what exactly you'd be looking for, because Hoyt is an end, but he was playing inside on these rush downs. So I'm really looking for Michael Hoyt, right? Like, can I find a guy that has that skill set? A couple of hours ago, Eric Wood brought up Dorian Williams as an idea for that sort of role, and it's the first I'd heard of it, and I haven't really sat with it. I guess you're the first person I'm really telling about it, besides Eric and our audience who heard Eric say it. And I wonder just how creative the Bills will get in trying to find someone, because the amount that I just think the difference he was making in these 6 quarters was very evident. I mean, Bosa and Rousseau and Epinesa have been winning their matchups, but they've not been getting home as often because the pressure from the middle hasn't been as consistent. And they were getting that with Hoyt, and I just think it makes such a big difference. That's what Philadelphia used to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, was guys winning in the middle. And without Oliver and now without Hoyt, I mean, it's a lot to ask for Deion Walker and TJ Sanders to come off IR and give you that.
Agreed. And then we don't really know where TJ Sanders is. McDermott, didn't really give a definitive timeline on him today when he was asked a little bit about him. And, there's a possibility he comes back, but he's not that kind of player. Right? He can give you some juice on the inside a little bit, but he's more of a kind of a guy that's going to be a little more well-rounded and help out in the run game.
Yeah.
Dorian Williams can play this role. He wouldn't be Michael Hoyt out there, obviously, but Dorian Williams is fast and he's aggressive and he gets to the party quickly and with a lot of enthusiasm, right? And that's what you want from a guy. And I think that could be an option for the Bills. There's no doubt about it. And what could really help you get to Dorian Williams, guys, is the fact that Shaq Thompson can now be used as more of the third linebacker, right? Because that was really Dorian Williams' role, playing the third linebacker. That's not the case anymore. I mean, he is a third linebacker, but Shaq Thompson's a guy that you really feel comfortable there. So maybe that frees Dorian Williams up to be a little bit more of that guy to be able to use in game plan situations. And just so everybody knows, McDermott did say Shaq Thompson and Joshua Palmer and Taron Johnson and Daquan Jones, all of them he's hoping to get. They're thinking they could practice this week. So, that could be an option when Shaq Thompson comes back, that maybe Dorian Williams does wind up in that, pseudo role that Michael Hoyt had.
What a big contribution Joey Bosa is making from just like, let's cross our fingers that he makes it to the playoffs. I mean, he's had a really good half season. You can see the flaws in his game based from his aggressiveness, but man, to say disruptive is an understatement. They're getting their money's worth.
Yeah, for sure. And I still think that his snap count is a bit high, right? I mean, compared to what we thought it would be, at least. I mean, he's handling it. That's fine. He made jokes yesterday in the locker room that, I need to get in the cold tub. I'm an old man. And, and he's only 30 years old, guys. It's just crazy. But he's playing terrific. He had 5 QB hurries yesterday. That's a huge, huge number. He is making a really, really big difference. But a big reason why he's making a big difference because they're getting that push on the interior. And if a guy like Patrick Mahomes or Andy Dalton's looking to scramble, there goes Joey Bosa. He's right there next to you. So, yeah, he's been a really big part. Greg Rousseau, after a slow start, is playing much better right now. And I think A.J. Epinesa had a really good game yesterday. I think A.J. Epinesa's having a nice year, solid year. We've talked about Epinesa before, and I've always said it. The Bills always believe he was an ascending player, but his ceiling is not super high, but he has a really high floor.
So the AFC now, Sal, it continues in this direction. The Chiefs now with their 4th loss, but they went into the game 2nd, even 3rd place. Bills 2, New England wins, Denver wins, Indianapolis loses, but we're 1 week closer because of the Patriots and Broncos to this kind of reality that one or both of those teams is going to still, force the other into the wild card. Obviously, there's so many weeks to go here. We're not there yet. But it's a big loss for Kansas City in the standings with Denver winning and even what else is happening in the AFC.
Yeah, I thought yesterday was a big game for the Steelers. And, we can talk all we want about, it doesn't really matter in the regular season because the Chiefs handled Bills in the playoffs. And look, I mean, we all know that that's happened. But if it did, they could have forfeited the game. Certainly it mattered. I mean, they needed to win the game. Because now they're 2 games behind the Denver Broncos. They have a bye week, then they play the Broncos. They're on the outside looking in. What yesterday's game did was keep everything right in front of everything they've wanted this year, meaning winning a division, getting the 1 seed, home field advantage. Like, everything is still right there for the Buffalo Bills. And now you knocked the Indianapolis Colts down a peg. Yeah, you're still chasing the Patriots, but you have a chance at them. Like, you control that if you're the Bills as far as winning games and catching the Patriots. And I know the Patriots have a bit of a lighter schedule. They're at Tampa this week. That's a tough game for them.
Yep.
So, I mean, you look around the AFC, and I think, the Chiefs are still going to win a lot of games, and they might very well win the AFC West. But the fact that the Bills have head-to-head and, a game and a half on them, essentially they'll beat them by 2 games. If they do wind up meeting in the playoffs, unless the Chiefs win the division and the Bills don't, then the game would be in Buffalo. And I think that matters, right? I mean, that's why you play the game yesterday to have that opportunity if it does come about.
Couple other personnel things from yesterday, Sal. Max Hairston and Tre'Davious White split the reps. I think it's 50-50 even split each guy. Do you think that we will get to Hairston just squatting on the job and taking over within a couple of weeks? Because I sort of feel like it's trending that way.
Yeah, I think I do. I just don't know when that is. Is that next week in Miami? Is that the week later, against Tampa? And, Baker, really good passing game right there. Not really sure. But, yeah, it feels like that's the way they're trending. Now, that said, I think that, they still really trust Tre'Davious White. And it's easy for us to look from the outside in and go, oh, look at Max Harrison. Look, he ran with Xavier Worthy, and he ran with this guy. Just go put him on the field. He's still learning. He still needs reps. It's the same thing what we talk about Cole Bishop. There's still something to be said for, you put him in positions. And Sean McDermott told a story yesterday about how, there was a play at practice on defense they ran last week, and they had to kind of rep it a few times because Max hadn't seen it yet, and he had kind of didn't know what to do and ran it wrong or something like that. And, that could happen in a game, right? And you just got to be careful about making those switches too quickly. You got to be really buttoned up, and you also don't want to wait too late. I get it. I understand that. And you want the guy to play as soon as possible. It's going to happen. I just don't know if it's going to be right away as far as everybody might want it to be.
Interesting how from Tyler Dunn, Hairston talked about Xavier Worthy and his body language and how Hairston was able to tell whether Worthy thought he was getting the ball. And as interesting as that is, I'm not sure McDermott would want that out.
Right. I thought the same thing. Like, Max, shh.
Quiet. Guess what'll not happen next time?
Right. They're going to talk to Worthy about not giving that away.
Yeah. It's interesting, though.
If it's, if they believe that it's true. Yeah.
All right, Sal, we'll let you go and talk again on Wednesday. Unless, wait a minute, I want to not jump to that because tomorrow is deadline day and we might have.
Right.
Oh, yeah, well, that's right. Tomorrow is deadline day. And, just so you guys know, you just said it, report from Field Yates is the Bills cleared, less than $2 million in salary cap space with Taron Johnson restructure, and they don't have a lot of levers they can pull to restructure, to create space, and they don't have a lot of space. So I think they're very limited in the things they can do, but certainly that's a sign that they could be moving money to acquire somebody. But let's remember, because of the injury to Hoyt, because of other injuries, signing guys counts too, right? They have to replace guys. They got to call them up in the practice squad. They got to sign them, and you need money just to do that. So just, throwing that out there for everybody.
Very good. Thanks again.
You got it.
All right. Sal Capaccio on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet, Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
I'm captivated by, it's not a tweet, I guess. It's in that section of Twitter on the right that says today's news, like the headlines of the day.
Yeah.
Here is a sentence that I guess is a sentence. Schopp issues English clarification on artist rights after VTuber Bow the Whale's viral complaint. I recognize 5 words.
I was going to say, there's a few words in there that I think I know. The rest of it...
I need an English clarification on this English clarification from someone,
no
please.
idea what's happening there.
Schopp, VTuber,
right.
Bow the Whale. Anyway, go on.
Sounds important. Bunch of big words in it that we don't know. Sounds really important.
Probably is. Probably is something we need to know more about.
Lord.
Whatever it is, please enlighten me. I don't want to end up, somewhere and not be able to converse on this subject. Where would that be? A sporting event, perhaps.
Right. Your local bar tonight. That's going to come up.
Yeah.
There's actually a roundtable discussion about what is it again?
I already closed it.
All right, good.
Schopp.
Yeah.
With Bow the Whale. I have a haircut this week. I bet there. Oh.
I got a haircut today.
You did?
Yeah.
I noticed it.
I'm trying to go. They have a new feature at the shop. My barber, Oral Roberts. Yes, that's his real name. Where you can just put on the books, pick a time, and every 6 weeks. So I'm locked in.
It's great.
Because I've gone many months. There are times where I would maybe go every 6 months, and I've seen photos. And I look like a crazy person when my beard gets that long. And so I've decided I don't want that anymore. And I don't trust myself to trim it well myself. So I'm going to go see Oral every
All
6
right.
weeks moving forward. Keep myself clean.
It is hereby declared.
Keep it nice and tight.
Talk to him about Bow the Whale and VTube.
I will.
See what
I remember.
he has to say
6
about it.
weeks is a long
I'd like-
time.
Well, it is a long time. I'd like to know. Eric Wood. This did not come up when Eric was with us, but we did talk about the Bills game at least. That's next here on WGR.